Hello, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear us? That's always the first question. Can you guys hear us? Yeah, here we are.
Yay, we made it.
We're here. It's your girl, Minna Vanilla. Here with my mom, Mama Vanilla. She is here from the farm, and she brought 7 gallons of milk.
I didn't bring any farm animals with me this time,
This time.
I did the end of last summer when I was here for a month. I did bring
They were
farm
little
animals.
goats.
Yes, 2 goats.
2 goats.
Run around this unfenced backyard.
Living on the back porch. That's the way we roll. Let's see. So, yeah, we're here to tell some farm stories. There are many times that...
Since volume is a bit low.
Okay, yeah, here, let me... Let's see. I think if I go here, and I turn up...
But Minna is the big sister Vanilla. There's only a little sister Vanilla. Minna's the big one. That's why do I sound like big sister Vanilla?
No, I'm the big sister. This is the mother.
I wonder if volume's better.
Wait, I gotta...
Talking too soft.
Wait, hang on. Let's see. I think tech support's on the way. Milliardo to the rescue. Part of it is the microphone's down here.
There is an echo.
Oh, is there?
Echo.
Oh, no. Well, reverb's on.
Oh, because the reverb is on. That's why it sounds like reverb.
It's been like 2 weeks since I got to stream, aside from the Among Us collab.
And I know 0.
You were here. Here. How about this? Let's start with this. Share your thoughts on my very first stream, because you were here for that. You were standing behind me.
Yes, that was interesting watching the birth. Oh, wait a minute. That's not when I came for a birth, was it? When did that?
That
no, that
was
November. Thanksgiving, yes.
Yeah.
No births that time, just the birth.
Not that time. Just the birth of the
birth of the stream.
The streamer. We could talk about... We should start with farm animals. Maybe later we'll talk about birth.
Yeah, let's not start talking about birth.
We gotta ease into it.
Yeah.
It's... Alright, let's see. Right now my face is stuck on Milliardo's face, as he does tech support. So anyway, how are you guys tonight? How are you, chat? Let's me try and stumble through pronouncing names. Alright, hello there, Jason Cardo and Dead Mac Gaming. Hello, Mumblethrax and CRG Runner. Good evening, Lung. And who else we got here? We got
Dead Mac Gaming.
We got VK Vicalcom and Majak. And
Poetsy.
Let's see, who is this? The Standardized Watermelon. I love watermelon. And Dazzle Clips, our auxiliary character. Hello there. Good evening. Mo Animal.
And the magical birth of a stream. Yeah, it's just funny watching real life just kind of happening around, and then boom, putting together this.
It was right in the middle of all the magic.
Yeah.
The birth of flavor. Hello, Marie. It's good to see you.
Horseplay wanted to go to bed. No, they can't.
Sorry, Horseplay. We're horsing around, so we just gotta play along.
We have not chased any horses up and down the road in the middle of the night since Minna was back at the farm.
Mm-hmm. So should we say the animals' real names, or do we need to code them? I think there's too many animals to try and code. I think the animals are fine. We'll dox the animals.
I don't know, but the animals have multiple names. Like the cows, they're down at Vinny's place.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny's little children rename my cows all the time. So,
what's been your favorite animal name?
Well, in an animal, I guess Moo. Just Moo. The cow
great.
named Moo.
Moo is
Moo's
great.
probably the best cow name. But yeah, I mean,
I like Cow Cow.
Yep. Well, but her name's Angel. See,
But her name's Cow Cow.
Our cows, and so then it's like, well, the one young son that names cows, he names them things like odd and even, and burnt toast and French toast, and mistake. So I don't know.
Didn't Mistake? Who was Mistake?
I forget, but it might have been some of the crazy ones that disappeared for a while when they tried to ban Mistake's baby boy and didn't do it in a secure area, and baby boy went through the fence, and then I think Mistake just kind of went through the fence, and I think they were just gone.
I think my favorite name that I'm still salty about is I named one of the cows Sparta so that
Yes,
I could eat it and say, "This is Sparta," and that I eat Spartans for breakfast. And then you get sold
it
that
is the one and only meat, destined for meat that we let somebody else, a friend, buy, and
the one cow I named,
and not us. Everybody always asks.
The one cow I named specifically so that we could eat it is the one cow you sold on me.
So even the little grandchild down at the Vinny place will name a cow Biscuit or Ghost, or I don't know. Why is a cow named Ghost?
I don't know. Wasn't there a horse named Ghost up at the
yeah
up at the barn?
Yeah, there was a ghost.
It was an Arabian.
And now at Vinny's there is an Arabian, a white Arabian.
Yeah, that's right.
Not named Ghost, named Foxy.
Okay, so you should tell the story.
What about names? You know the best name that we haven't done, and I don't know, I should officially redo it, is, you drive down the road and you see the signs for commercial poultry farms. It'll say, Jim Clark's farm or something, or all the Vietnamese one. It says Nugent Farm, and we're supposed to pick a name to put on the sign. And I wasn't sure, what they're, I don't know, my name's such and such. But one of the elder boys told me I missed a great chance, because it usually has a name. It might say like Tim and Jen Ellison's farm. Well, we should have named it Sam and Ella's. So poultry farm, because it's just Sam and Ella. Looks normal driving down the road, except that it's Sam and Ella's poultry farm.
I think I remember them mentioning it forever ago.
Oh yeah.
All right, how's the tech stuff going?
But I don't know how like Tyson's Food would like having their name Tyson's Food on the same side with salmonella.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess chat. How do we sound?
I think we're doing good. Can I steal my model back? No. Okay. All right. Tech support's on its way.
No. Here, Minna calls me wanting to go on about dough babies and dough kids, and I'm like, I just walked in the door, from dealing with
I call you like
guy to get the stray cow.
Don't wake dough babies. You gotta be kind of quiet. Yeah. But yeah, I called the other day because I'm always calling you. And just be like, these kids. But what are they doing now? But then you were telling me about
I'm walking in the door, and Grandpa Vanilla's hearing me as I walk in the door, my hubby, and hearing me say like, well, yeah, I got done dealing with that random guy with his stray cow, and I got $200 out of the deal. I wasn't going to be like, the country boys going, oh, no, put that back in your pocket. He hands me, starts pulling out hundreds. I just put my hand out like, sure, give me money. And,
okay, you got to start at the beginning, though. Like, how did this all
start? And then,
start?
It's like, I'm walking in and go, I got $200 and I got hit in the forehead with a cattle panel. So then, hubby, Grandpa Manila is like, they hit you, because these guys were meeting me over there. They hit you in the head with the cow panel? No, the cow did. So yeah, that was right after my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
So it was started Friday the 24th, when I actually had to be up somewhere early in the morning to drive to metropolitan area, early morning traffic, and get somewhere an hour and a half away down into the big city. And so I actually took my phone to bed with me, which is just a flip phone.
Yeah, you've only ever had a flip phone.
It's not a smartphone.
Just a flip phone.
But it went to bed with me because I set an alarm on it. And then the phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it says, "This is your lovely county's 911 calling you." Like, oh no, half awake trying to determine what, And now trying to say addresses on this road. 229 and 829 and 839 and then 913. And I'm like, what address is a cow out at? I don't know. My place, but no, they say, there is a cow in the road down there. And I was confused. And then I finally said the address of Vinny's place down there. And they're like, well, yes, that's very close. And it's a black and white cow. And then they happened to say, well, the motorist said it's a small cow, but not a calf. So I'm like, oh, great. I better go check it out because we have a very small, like if it was a pony, it would be something you could only put a 90-pound kid on, like a very small cow. We got them just for kicks, these little bitty cows that are kind of wild. But the good fences are down there. We paid lots of money and put in the good, strong woven field fences, not the barbed wire at my place that they can slip through. So I go down there and decide I'm going to drive down there and find the cow. And I didn't pull in to Vinny's long drive to go check and see if my cows were there or not, because I assume the cow's in the road down here. So then the next driveway is another long drive, which is when our cows get out, they get into those people's yard. I thought about pulling up in there, and he's a police officer too, really nice guy. They got 6-year-old twins running around there. Yeah, because cute. December, I'm sitting there reading to the Vinny's kitties down there, the grand kiddos, and I get a phone call from the neighbor that, oh, one of your nice cows is out. We're trying to get a leash around it. I get out there, it's the bull.
What?
And the 6-year-old twins, boys, are running around, and they're literally trying to put a dog leash on the bull.
What? What?
Yeah. So that was December. So, as I run out of their house, I just grabbed a random bucket and threw some rocks in it, and then I go, and luckily we just had all this nice fencing done, and I'd asked the guys to put a gate, between our yard and the neighbor's yards, because cows go through where there is no gate, and then trying to get them back through the fence where there is no gate, that's always fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I go down there, I open the gate, and I just rattle rocks in a bucket, and so old bull comes lumbering, but no, a bull's not safe. I mean,
goodness no.
And then I'm like, that's how you get a cow to move, not go put a dog leash on it. And they thought it was a cow, not a bull. But so I was gonna go up in their drive, and then they have some renters that are like one more drive past them, that they kind of know us personally, and she's always telling us that there's an animal in her yard. But in between those two driveways is a house right up at the road. Really don't know these people. But so it's 3:30 in the morning now, and I'm thinking of going up the neighbor's drive, and there's people on the front porch with flashlights, and like spotlights, but I don't know these people. So I kind of stop in front of their house and roll down my window, like, maybe if they're in on, cow spotting, they might come approach this person. But no, they didn't come off their porch, and they were just looking at me. And I drove on past them, and then I turn around, and I come back, and I kind of pull into their driveway, and they have no clue. And I'm like, 911 said there was a cow out in the road.
What were they looking for the cow?
No, these people were just on their front porch letting their dogs out.
Oh.
They said, no, I don't know, but they had big flashlights. I haven't said hi to those people because I've kind of heard some things, and I don't know, I stayed away from meeting them. And I don't live right there. So, no, it's like, okay, no cow. I'm driving. And then I'm like, well, the people actually were confused because they told me, they pointed up the driveway of the, immediate neighbors, that's the police officer with the 6-year-old twins, and said, no, it'd be up that way. So I was confused too. They were saying they didn't see a cow, but then they're telling me go up that driveway. So now I pull up this long driveway, so you get up and then you're right there at their house. Now it's like 3:30 in the morning. I'm thinking, oh gosh, my headlights are going to sweep their house. There's nobody out. And
just roll up incognito.
Yeah, I kind of, wiggled my way around so that I didn't shine the headlights at their house. But while I'm there, I can kind of see toward the backyard of the other, the person that I know that I've been friends with for a while that rents from them, a house on their property. And I thought I saw a flashlight like somebody out there. So I was like, oh yeah, I know that lady. You know, she might be up at all hours of the night. Maybe she, you know, she's bound. She knows everything. She's always knows what's going on. So I go out, and then, you know, I pass in front of those people on their front porch again, and I go up that next long driveway where I get up there, and it's a really tight squeeze. You know, they just kind of got a little spit of these other people's property, and a house there, and a driveway crowded with a few other cars. And I almost couldn't even turn around. And there, so I left my car running and the lights on, because then if somebody looks out the window and they kind of hear something, well, at least let them see that there's, you know. And then I walk into their backyard, because that's where the cow would be. But there's nothing there but their dogs. And oh boy, their dogs started to raise a ruckus. Oh, no. And I'm going, there's no cow. There's no people out here. There was like one of those power company street light poles you have in your backyard. That's what I thought the flashlight was. So no cow, and I'm going, great. So I decide to go pull into Vinny's place and just park and call 911 back and going, you know, you confirmed with me. They said, you know, let me confirm. You're on the way to the scene to go meet there. I'm like, yes, I'll get out of bed. I'll put my shoes on. I'll drive down the road. And I get there and find nothing. It's already been 30 minutes and I'm driving around here. I mean, so I pull in the drive, and it's a long, narrow drive and long pasture that's kind of narrow along the drive, but then it really drops down the hill. So these are itty bitty cows. There's a few of them, you know, out there. But what is there? There's like 3 and a baby out there, and they're itty bitty. I mean, the baby's the size of a terrier practically. So
there's a lot of babies born.
Yeah, since November.
Yeah,
all kind of babies born.
There's like, well, at least 4 last time I was there, and then another born like right after I left. I think there's a lot. Yeah, but anyway, I pulled up there, and let's see, I saw a cow standing up. It's the one that's like a Zebu Jersey. I think that's the one that Kiddo likes to call Ghost. I don't know if I have a real name for it. But there was a cow standing there, kind of, you know, down close to the beginning of the drive and right up to the fence. That's unusual. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought. I didn't go looking for him because I'd be hiking and hunting through that whole pasture looking for him. But I pull up and there's a cow. So I park and I step out, and I realize that there's the dark red little bitty girly one laying there. And the one that I'm looking for, that's black and white, it's like all black on top and its back and everything. And it looks like you took and threw some white paint from under its belly and splashed up. You know, it's kind of cool looking. So laying there in the grass, it took me a minute, and I go, well, dang, there's that little black and white cow sitting there. And I mean, nobody has many. Everybody has the black cows. You know, there's all the black cows around. But a black and white cow, and for a driver to say, well, it was a really small cow, but definitely not a calf. I mean, that describes mine to a T. And there it is. So I dial 911 back, and I'm like, hey, you know, it's not my cow. And they're like, oh, unless it slipped back in the fence. I'm like, no, it's not barbed wire. It's, you know, like woven field fence. It's not my cow that was out. It's like, geez, you know. So, yeah, I think I just went home, and I couldn't go back to bed because now it's like after 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Now I was supposed to get up, you know, like at 6. I gave up. But, you know. No sleep. Supposed to get up at 6, and I was running down there at 7. Pick up small grandchild. Small grandchild needed to go down for an appointment down in the big city, and you sound so good.
Yeah, I could be. I'm gonna pull up the driveway, and what do I see standing there?
Why, it's a cow.
Why, it was a cow.
Wasn't my cow though. It's gonna be my dinner though.
Yeah, no, it is. So there's this cow, but the crazy ironic thing of the most ironic thing of this whole thing, not even the weird guys that I ended up talking to Monday at the sale barn that got butthurt over me saying looked like it came from a sale barn. But anyway, the most ironic thing is this sucker is huge. Absolutely huge. Bigger than any cow we've ever had. Bigger than most Holsteins. I mean, to the point that young granddaughter, when I sneak in the house, not waking up her younger siblings and pull her out of bed, and I was like, come see, there's a random cow out here. And she looks at it, and she's like, why are its legs so long? It just looks so disproportionately tall. It just didn't even look right.
To be my cow or not to be my cow? That is the question.
Yeah. Well, so now it looks like it wants to be my cow because it's big and it's up along the fence line, and now it's 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm on a timetable, and I'm like, you know, I think
it's pretty like not a good idea for large animals being in the road.
Yeah.
Car accidents.
You know, that's the bad thing about a cow being loose. I find out from these old guys around here, nobody wants to let anyone know that their cow is loose. That's why it's hard to find the owner. And the owner doesn't, because they're like, you know, I've been in the cattle business since, that's what the old guy, not the guy, the owner, but the old guy that's helping us, since 1972 around here. And, you know, whenever your cow's out, it's best to let as few people know as possible, you know? So they don't get on the concerned citizens page of your lovely county like they do for dogs and plaster, you know, like, oh, here's a picture of my puppy dog that's loose on, you know, XYZ road. Nobody wants to own up that their cow is out. They kind of like want to find it, but they don't want anybody to know.
As if there's an accident.
Because then it's like something happens, like, oh, that wasn't my cow that caused an accident. Yeah. So yeah, you know, there's this huge cow, and then, you know, mine are all up along the fence, and I'm like, do I run back down to the bottom of the drive and actually close the gate at the drive that we leave open? And I'm like, no, it's not going anywhere. Let me go get the kiddo. And then I come out, and they've kind of meandered their way up the fence, so now they're closer to the gate. And so then my thought was like, well, I guess I throw it in the gate. But then, you know, I throw it in the gate, and I'm like, no, that's stupid. I don't know if this thing came from the sale barn, got Joni's disease, you know, BVL, if it's sick. You know, now I'll have sick cows, and this thing's huge. I mean, this thing is
sit on the other
about
cows.
4 to 5 times as big as the other cows that are in there. And so then I was kind of like mad about that, but I've put the cow in there, and I actually called 911 while I was standing there to say, hey, look, you know, the cow that was loose that y'all, and of course, like, oh, this is a different shift. We don't know what you're talking about. Like, people, I have this cow. It's a black and white cow. So if somebody's looking for it, I have it contained. And then they kind of didn't care. And they were like, do you need us to send an officer out?
So, Dead Matt Gaming asks, is this the normal day in the life of a farmer? Maybe not every day, but
there's something every day.
There's something every day.
Yeah, there's something every day.
All the times we've had the horses always getting injured and having to doctor them.
Oh yeah, horses love to find creative ways
to get tangled in barbed wire.
Well, you know, not even just barbed wire, but
yeah. Oh well, we should we need to tell some Daredevil adventure horses after. You got to finish up this story.
Okay, so finish up this one. You know, 911 really doesn't care unless we want an officer out, and it's like, I don't know, you got a cow now. But I leave and I'm driving away, and I'm looking at the time, and so Grandpappy Vanilla, you know, my husband here, he usually is always awake and wandering around the house at 5 or 6 in the morning. But you know, I didn't see him when I left the house, and I thought, well, I'll wait just a little bit. And I'm thinking, because him and Vinny like to go down the road to, you know, because Vinny lives, you know, half mile one side of me, and Vinny's other brother lives, you know, I don't know, 3 driveways the other way, and
they like to go taking over the road.
Yeah, they like to go lift weights together. And I was like, was his car there? What time is it? What are they doing? And then I'm thinking, well, Vinny had just left to go lift weights. Wouldn't have he seen the dang huge cow in his own driveway? He says, no, evidently not. He just, but I don't know. He's blinders on. He has been, back when we used to use the front gate in our house, our front driveway, he was the reason that many cows got out. Because he would get out of his car, open the gate, pull in, and swear, you know, I don't remember. But I mean, and he's not even pulling far, just pulling in just far. The very front.
Yeah, the very front. And I know we have the fence now. Was it not there before?
Well, we had a fence, and he would, you know, move the gate and pull in, and then just walk in the house.
Yeah, but like the other fence. Because it's like now that very front one is kind of squared in by that other fence.
But I just know that it'd be just wide open. And Bessie, our first cow, would be just across the street, just grazing away. And yeah. No. So I called Grandpappy there to tell him that, you know, I really don't want that cow. Can you, like, you know, in with our other cows? Can you go and push it through? We got all kind of cross fencing. You know, push it through to the other pasture. Except, I'm like, hey, and he sounds funny, and he's like, well, I was sleeping. That is like, he is never sleeping at 7 or 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, the plan was to, meet over there. I was going to meet Vinny and lift weights if I was awake, but, evidently I was asleep. And so one time sleeping, I woke him up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, so I told him to move the thing. And, then Friday evening and Saturday, we're like, well, there's a cow. Sunday, other older son goes over to Vinny's to take care of cows and throw hay. It's like, well, this thing's trying to break down our nice new fencing to get to where the other cows are. And I'm like, well, it's huge. Throw more hay over there at it, even though it's got lots of nice green grass. And then by Monday, we're going, I don't know. Slaughter dates are forever out. Ever since COVID, it takes a year to get a slaughter date. But, we got one lovely place that does a kill and chill. You can give them a very small amount of money and they'll drop the animal, skin it, quarter it, and put it in their freezer for 2 weeks and hand it back to you in very large chunks. Yeah, kitchen table. We did it 4th of July the other year, not this past year. So I was like, I don't know. Yeah,
4th of July, Butcher Day.
Yeah, so let's just, we're going to eat this thing. But then he's like, call the auction, Maybe it's because it was a Thursday night, into Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And, our auction place is Thursday there in our little town. So somebody brought home a cow that wasn't used to its surroundings and just went AWOL. But there's no tag, there's the stickers they put on. There's no sticker on it, but it has a big freeze branded #1 on its side. And so I called the auction guy and be like, well, if I describe this cow to you and whatever, I'm just thinking, it looks like it kind of just went through the auction. Okay, so immediately that's what the guy pins in on. He sounds very butthurt. What do you mean by that? I'm like, what do you mean by what? That it looks like it just went through the auction. I'm like, well, looks a little bit skint up, and some hide missing in places, and its legs a little bit, roughed up. And so then I get a 5-minute diatribe on how 95% of the animals coming through his auction are happy and healthy, and that there's no, and I'm like, okay, fine, but maybe it looks like it just had a long trailer haul. Well, an animal doesn't look like that just for being on a trailer. Okay, yeah, we trailer cows and horses in our nice little small trailer, and they're not banged up, but I'm envisioning, a bunch of cows packed into a trailer, and they step on each other's legs. That's the reason we wrap our horses' legs, because, they can knock their hooves up against their legs. And so get into this conversation about this butthurt guy wanting to really defend his auction place there. And wondering why I don't, because he was like, hey, you need any help? We'll you got a way to trailer it over here? And I'm like, yeah, just bring it down and sell it at the auction. Yeah, you can do that. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe instead of eating it, we'll just take it down to the auction and sell it. And he's wondering why I don't, partake in different things at his auction house. And I'm like, because I have little mini cows, and they've popped out babies, so far this year that, they're cute and little, and I put them on a bottle and I sell them as 2-week-old babies for $600. You're not going to get me but $150 for a little baby at an auction. I kind of, they say, and I'm like, I don't want to bring home a milk cow from the auction. I've kind of gone and looked, and I'm afraid to be bringing home somebody's mastitis problem cow. Yeah. And he goes, and so he's telling me all this about why I should use the auction, but then he goes, well, you're right. Any jerseys that come through here are pretty much, the end of their usefulness, but instead of digging a hole and burying them in the ground, they go on for, I'm like, yes, I'm not buying a jersey from you.
We've got plenty.
So anyway, he said, I cannot help you unless there is a sticker on there. And I was like, okay, whatever, we're either going to eat this thing or something. 15 minutes later, the guy calls me back. And he's like, my wife called me and we were talking about something, and she goes, oh, by the way, did you see that post about a missing cow? And, I've been looking for posts. Nobody posted anything on the yard sale pages, the community pages, the concerned citizens pages, which we have a very concerned citizen community. Very concerned. Yes, our community is so full of concerned citizens. We don't just have the concerned citizens. We have the other concerned citizens. Then we have the truly concerned citizens. And then... No, there's the truly concerned citizens, and then now there is the no boomers, real something concerned citizens. Oh yeah.
Are you allowed in that page, or are you a boomer?
I think Vinny invited me to that page. Yeah, I'm in it. I'm not a boomer.
Not boomer confirmed. Nah, you're not a boomer.
Yeah. So So I don't know, I got this free cow. Yeah, and I could have, because if somebody really wanted their cow back, they could have let 911 know. Say, like, hey, by the way, I have, a cow that has disappeared on me. So if you happen to get a report of a cow in the road, and this guy had been missing his cow since Thursday afternoon, and I found it Friday morning. He didn't post anything until Saturday night on his own personal Facebook page, just a picture of the cow, and the cow was missing and been seen on a road Thursday afternoon, and hadn't been seen since, and things huge. But, that was it, and we have mutual friends, because obviously this town is this town.
Yeah.
Oh, but see, then the guy at the auction calls me back, and he's like, I just was talking to my wife about regular wife and husband stuff, and she's like, oh, did you see that missing cow? Ha ha ha, they're chuckling over it, because evidently this guy is like their rival, competition, big time rival. So they're laughing about this guy's, and the guy goes, well, wifey, matter of fact, I just had a 15-minute conversation with some crazy lady, Grandma Vanilla, about this missing cow. And so then, because I'm going, if your cow was missing Thursday and you couldn't find it Thursday afternoon, and you at least let 911 know, look, this is the description of my cow. If you get somebody calling up saying, hey, I found this cow, or if there's a cow in the road, then, they would know the right person to call at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Instead of you.
Not call me. And then across from Benny's is an old man with tons of cows out there on there, And then, I can just look at my guys. They had those old people up out of bed, gathering their cows and counting them.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I found that out later. But, yeah, so anyway, I was like, giving a hard time once I got in touch with this guy that, why didn't you put, and that's when they're going, well, you want as few people as possible to know that you're missing a cow. So anyway, so now Monday morning, I've called the auction place in town, got the guy butt hurt because I said this beat up looking cow looked like it had just been run through an auction. So then he wants to talk about all the community involvement and all the good that farming does. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I have milk cows. So he calls me back 15 minutes later and he goes, this dude has a post up. And I was like, well, just tell me. But, I don't want my name mentioned. I don't want my name connected with anything, dude, because this guy's basically my competition. So I'm like, well, tell me his name and I'll just kind of find his Facebook. So I did. And, this one guy that I first talked to, is the Northwest State area auction, whatever. Well, I pull up this other guy's Facebook and he's the Northeast State Auction House, which is kind of far away. It's even the place that these auction houses is, south and east, other side of big metropolitan city. And we're way up above in the boonies. So I'm like, wow, so he runs cows up here, but he runs an auction house down there. And
it's a long drive.
Yeah, and it's from his Facebook, he's a big time name. And so I guess our local auction house is not on friendly terms with him at all, to the point that he didn't even want mentioned that, he passed on the information that,
Oh, wait, I hear a dope baby.
Yeah, Mr. Guy is missing a cow. So then I tried to be funny at first. I didn't even message Mr. Guy. I got on his Facebook post that said my cow's missing. And so somebody in that post commented, well, somebody's wondering how they got a free cow. So I just get under that post and go, yeah, that would be me. Waited, and I said, that would be me. Said maybe if they let 911 or anybody know that your cow was missing, they'd call you instead of us and all our neighbors up and down our street at 3 o'clock in the morning. But no, I never got a response from that. So I waited around and I was like, do we just keep the cow? No, we didn't keep the cow. I messaged him personally. I think I was out of town in the next town over, doing Twinkle Toes ballet with the little girl kiddos, and I decided to write him a message, and he's like, oh, well, I'm out of town, because, yeah, his business is out of town. Like 2 hours the other side of big city, and he was like, I'll send my son over, and then he decided he would come the next morning. I met him over there, and, yeah, I kept kind of poking and and ribbing him about what a pain in the butt, and is your cow disease free, and you're causing me problems. And so, yeah, he pulled out his wallet, you know, in the end, like, well, for all your trouble, you know, and I'm sure he expects most guys, even hubby would be like, oh, no, you know, I can't take your money. I'm like, sure. See him pull out 100 and pull out another 100, and I'm just giggling to myself, take the money. But Minna kind of ditched me to go check on squishy dough babies at the moment. So it's just me. So it sounds weird and quiet just talking to myself here. But let's see. Hey, chat. Shh, it's story time. Oh, yeah, they don't want to interrupt me. Yeah, my $200 well earned. I mean, I don't know. Otherwise, it would have been free meat. So I'm kind of weighing, you know, which is better, the free meat or the $200? I mean, we got several lined up for free meat, which brings me to the other 911 phone call I got literally like a week before this. So that was my birthday weekend, March 24th. So March 11th is actually youngest of the sons' birthday. And the neighbor calls us and it's like, hey, y'all got a black calf? You know, everybody around us, you know, all these cattle guys, nobody does dairy. They all have black cows and black calves. And my neighbor right next door at my place with the janky barbed wire fences says there's a black calf. And so second youngest son, who's in charge of the milking and the cows there, he's going around and going, no, all our calves we don't have any black calves, and all our calves are where they belong. We don't have many right now. We sold a bunch, and all the little ones popping out that are cute. But we got one in a stall in the barn. He's there. We got one girl that's walking around with its mom in the pasture, and the pasture next to the neighbors now has the bull in it because I couldn't leave the bull over there at Vinny's place because it was trying to go play with 6-year-olds. So the bull's over there, and one milk cow, Odd, that's not milking right now, and a horse. And so I would go out and talk to my neighbor, and I walk over to the fence line, and I'm standing at my fence line looking at my horse, we have, got onto this bent because we're talking about who's next in line to go to the freezer. There's Jackson. Jackson's a black kind of steer cow, a couple years old, sitting there. I'm like, okay, there's Jackson, there's a horse, and there's a little black calf. Well, it's not really little, and it's laying there on the other side of the fence, like right in the corner where mine and the neighbor's is. Well, the other side, past the fence line on, in an L shape, is some other neighbor has some cows there. There's a bunch of random cows, and it's laying right up against the fence, right where those cows are. So I'm like, okay, it belongs to those cows. But those people said, no, it's not theirs. The neighbors keep trying to push it through. That's a Saturday. Then we're over at other older son's place 3 driveways down, trying to cook steaks. I was trying to cook birthday steaks for the family, for young son becoming of adult age, and cooking the steaks, and my phone rings in my pocket, and there again it goes, this is your lovely county's 911. And I'm like, that you hear that, and your mind just is suddenly like, okay, alert and serious, and I'm paying attention to this phone call, not paying attention to my steaks that I really don't like overdone, trying to make the best steaks. And then they're asking about, you might have already got a call, but your neighbor, and then they're saying the house numbers again. Okay, down there at Vinny's is the 2-somethings, and mine is 8-something. And I'm going, wait a minute, I'm 829. Yeah, it'd be right. It's 759, right next to you, it looks like. And then I realized, no, that's my neighbor with the black calf that they found. I already was standing there looking at it. It's not mine. I told you that this morning. And then hurrying up, trying to make sure I didn't take Mrs. Z next time. So then I get but yeah, anyway, my steaks, those are some nice steaks that we had that day. But anyway, so the thing is about that black calf is we don't have a black calf. We have 2 black steers in the back. And Jackson was standing there, and I wasn't thinking about any other, that's a Saturday. Didn't think anything of it. Come Thursday that week, over there 3 driveways down at other older sons, at Vinny's brother's place, there's a big roofing project going on, and I'm in the middle of staring at a beautiful plank cathedral ceiling that these roofers had just drove nails through because they didn't use the short ones like we told them to, and and older young son calls me, says, oh, no, hey, mom, you remember that black calf, that stray black calf earlier? And I'm like, yeah, what about it? He's like, it turns out we do have a black calf, Dumbo. And I just realized I haven't seen him in a long time because he's not really a calf. He's a year old. He was born like January or February last year. And thing is he was born to one of these random mini cows that I got just for kicks. And it was, a small mini black Dexter. And here Dumbo, when he was born, instead of like the other ones born to the minis out there that were like literally the size of a terrier, Dumbo here, I straddled him, and like his back was all the way up to my crotch, and his mom is only up to my hip. And unfortunately, that didn't do his mom very well, and we lost her. So we had bottle fed Dumbo and put him in the back to line up for freezer camp. Jackson's next for freezer camp, and then here is Dumbo, who looks like a little new calf because, I don't know, he was huge when he was born, but he obviously didn't grow much, and I hadn't laid eyes on him since we had quit bottle feeding him. He used to live right next to the house. Open the bay window of the kitchen and hold the bottle out, and he'd suck it down and then lick and chew on the edge of the windowsill and decorate the farmhouse with his slobber. And so, yeah, then I'm like, really, son? He's like, yeah. And so I called the neighbor. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days later, I called the neighbor. It's been really rainy, and there's kind of a trench back there, so there's been water. But I called the neighbor. I was like, that calf? Well, older young son, the nice responsible one, says, we actually do have a black calf, but that's like a year old back there, and he hasn't seen it all week. And she's going, really? Well, it was still there up until yesterday. And I'm like, where is it now? Yeah, window licking cows. I mean, they kind of violently licking, chewing, destroying the side of the house. So I think we finally reinforced the cables there that they don't like make our internet go out all the time anymore. I think it's only the storms that do that. I don't know. Into pipes and stuff.
The old little goat pen area?
Yeah, because Dumbo the calf lived there.
So what happened to Dumbo?
Well, Dumbo killed his mama.
What?
That was the start of Dumbo.
Wait,
because
birth?
Yeah. So, and then we raised Dumbo, and then I guess Dumbo been in the back with Jackson, waiting for his turn to go to freezer camp. Y'all know what freezer camp is, right? It's their summer camp they go to.
I'm a little unnerved at how good you are at streaming.
I don't know, I'm talking. Have I ever been bad at talking?
No. This is where I get it from. I feel inferior. I think I talk a lot.
Okay, well, you laughed. There's nobody here. I have keep talking.
I know, you're good at this.
Yeah. So then I'm like, where's that black calf from last Saturday? Like, well, it was living in my backyard up until, but we don't want it. 911 told her, well, I guess you have a cow. They don't even have a fenced yard.
Wait, who did it
Stephanie.
go to?
Oh.
What?
The neighbor.
Yeah.
Some random person over there. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so so
what
Cal
did
was
you do
over
with the
there
cow for a week.
It was, they had a pig pen way in the back at one point that's not there, all destroyed. Their pigs are up where their chicken coop had always been. I wonder about what happened to the chicken. I've been afraid to ask what happened with the chickens. I don't know. But
why are you afraid?
Anyway,
did someone
that was a whole nother story.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's another story. But she said it'd been back there. It was all raining and there's a ditch back there. There'd been water, and she said the husband got
Right as I said, you're good at this.
The husband got annoyed with it, and I guess that day had gone and pressured it enough to make it pop through the fence over into the other cows that are catty corner to us back there.
So they just ran it off.
Yeah, and I'm super busy dealing with roofers putting nails through where they're not supposed to have nails through and not doing what they're supposed to do.
Oh, wow, so this was
running
recent.
off, and I had to run right out of the house. So I'm via phone with, the more responsible older young son, instructing him, to get down there, and there actually is a gate between those two from our back old woods to that, because it used to be this whole family homestead,
that we're slowly taking back.
Yeah, we live on what's the original old grandpa's homestead that let's see, and then one brother eventually took it over, and then another brother built the house next door that our neighbors are at, where the cow was at, and then the other brother currently still lives in the other one, catty corner. Yeah. So there was a gate connecting them. So anyway, so I tell him to go down there and figure out how to get ours through, and evidently these other cows there were kind of shunning our guy that kept wanting to get in there, and he some other people, I guess it kind of roused everybody up, because the neighbor came out, and then the people over there came out, so somebody was on their four-wheeler, and somebody was feeding all their cows down there, and I guess they didn't want our little Dumbo around. The other cows didn't, so they had run him off, so it was kind of easy for older young son to open the gate and get ours through into our backwoods. We have a first pasture, a second pasture, a backwoods, a Mordor. We don't have any of our livestock animals lived in Mordor yet, though.
No,
it'd be nice one day. I don't know.
One day.
Free range pigs and goats out in Mordor.
That's what we've always said.
Something.
We've we've kind of made trails back there. It's just kind of a big stretch of woods.
Yeah, so I don't know. He gets, but silly. The thing is I wasn't even home. I'm talking to him remotely on the phone, telling him what to do. When I do come home, I see that thing in the second pasture with the bull and with the cows and everything, but that's not where the gate is that he got them through. And so I ask him, I'm like, where did you put Dumbo? And he's like, I put him in the backwoods. I'm like, he's not in the backwoods. He's like, he didn't believe me. So then he's arguing with me, and then Dumbo's in the backwoods. But then it was a few days later, and Anya and Bianca were coming back from the barn, and the lady that brought them back, was questioning us, because this is a facility that does stuff for youth, and they kind of want to do some cow things there too, and they were like, maybe mini cows, and let them learn to roping, she's saying. I don't know. Can you imagine them roping up there? No. I don't know. I thought maybe they're talking about petting farm cows up there at this place. I don't know, with you. So I don't know what she's thinking about with roping. So I don't know. Yeah. So it's the only other worker up there is Fanta now. But so
I realized that prepared me for streaming all the nicknames up there.
Oh yeah. They don't have real names. It's really hard to tell when you're saying a name whether somebody's talking about a person or a horse, because
all the
camp names, the camp nicknames, and the horse names kind of run together. So yeah, Mordor, Mumblethrax. We do have Mordor. We also have a TARDIS.
Oh,
that TARDIS has been
there?
sitting. Yes. When the code enforcement came around and made me get rid of all the unrunning cars,
they didn't take that one.
I didn't tell them it wasn't running. I don't know. It has a tag on it. It's not current. I don't know. It doesn't. It's at least it wasn't smashed, unlike other vehicles sitting there that somebody sitting
right
next to
her
me.
Birthday.
Yeah, on her 18th
birthday. Into a dump truck.
Yeah, somebody tried to, drive into the side of a dump truck on her 18th birthday. Yeah, so, the phone rings, and when my kid goes, "Hey, Mom," the first thing out of my mouth is like, "Oh, no, what'd you do?"
I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a phone.
And then she's like...
I went, no, what was funny was one of your friends was behind me in the parking lot. So right. Here, let me explain the story real quick. I was getting birthday decorations, and I was, there's like a 4-lane highway. And for some reason, I thought I could turn left across the 4-lane highway. And so I'm sitting there forever, which I guess in retrospect, the friend was sitting behind me while I was sitting there forever waiting for... I don't know, she was behind me after it happened. And so I'm waiting forever, and there's finally an opening for some reason to cross 4 lanes.
Episode of Yellowstone. You know what? I know
What's
the
Yellowstone?
Name Yellowstone. I know. I was about to say, I know Yellowstone's a show, but then I'm like, I have no idea what Yellowstone is like. Or
you're not
what
boomer.
It is. I'm not. I have no idea what is. Yeah.
So anyway, there's this dump truck.
Yeah, the dump truck.
And I saw it was finally clear, and then I saw the dump truck, and it was turning and coming, kind of.
Well, it was a road from the south, and it had its right turn signal on because it had just turned.
But in my brain, I thought, oh, it has a turn signal on.
So it's about to turn into this little janky Bojangles parking lot. I'm sure.
That's what my brain thought. That's what my brain thought.
Turn signal. I don't need to worry about the dump truck. It has a right turn signal on, so it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, and so I had like just taken my foot off the gas, and then suddenly I just see gray and metal flying, and just like the front, like the nose of the car was like shaved off. I was fine. Thankfully, the guy had like. There wasn't anyone else in the lane because he apparently like swerved his cab, and it was like the back part.
Well, he had seen you pulling out, and he steered to the left as much as he dared, because otherwise, if he steered hard to the left, that loaded dump truck would have flipped over to the right on top of you. But yeah, so he steered just enough so he got the cab of his truck out in front of your car, but right about where the gas tanks were, just kind of caught and shaved like a cheese grater, the front.
I have a great picture of one of the cows standing next to that car that sat there for a while, and like the radiator like was like swooshed.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like shaved. It just like shaved off the front of the car. So like I just take my foot off the gas and then, immediately put it back on because everything just goes like, and I'm like, crap.
Swerved his cat. No, not a cat. We're talking about a dump truck.
Cab.
Oh, yeah, his cab. He got the cab
out of the way so he didn't T-bone me.
Yeah,
that would have been bad.
Yeah.
I can't even, as a mom now, I can't even imagine. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard now with the little ones, but it just new levels of stress come as they get older, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. But
hey, I'm fine though. I just wrecked the car, and okay. So then I get, then I'm like, oh crap, I messed up, and then I get out of the car. So I didn't have a cell phone. Like I may have had like a little iPod or phone that like didn't have service on it.
Yeah, because the cop even mentioned you can call 911 on that. Any of we had whatever we had some random that they weren't. We just had some random phones, a flip phone with no SIM card in it. That's right. Like a flip phone with no SIM card in it, and if you carried that, it'll still call 911.
Yeah. So anyway, but I think it was the friend must have been behind me. Or did I walk into Bojangles to you? No, one of the Bojangles guys came out and was like, hey, do you need anything? And I'm like, I could use a sweet tea.
Yeah.
I was very sarcastic.
And then he probably starts flirting with you.
No. What it was, like, he
we didn't have track phones. We've never had a track phone.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, Raiders? Oh, wait, hang on. Who's raiding? What did we miss? Hang on. Who'd we rating?
I don't know what we're doing.
Rating is when someone like sends their viewers to your stream.
So no, we were just talking about that because I have a TARDIS.
Yeah.
I have Mordor.
Oh, Doc. I'm assuming.
It says welcome, Doc.
I'm assuming that's Brouhahas.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think the other funny thing when I met you at the scene of your little car crash, she was so unfazed. She didn't. There was no chance for her to get. Not startled,
adrenaline.
but to get,
it really did
jittery,
like
because it was like she's sitting there, she's looking, and she took her foot off the brake and just started to move forward, and then just like and just put her foot back on the brake and was like, whoa, like what
and now
happened?
the front of the car's gone.
I mean, everything was done and gone before she had a chance to react like, oh no, anything was scary. So she wasn't shook up. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah,
she was not shook up at all. And then,
I was just very sarcastic to cope.
A friend of mine, was right there and seen her because, of course, small town, everybody knows and sees something. Yeah. And at the time, this was her 18th birthday.
It was like the week of my 18th birthday.
Yeah, there had been a little bit of teen drama before that. And I remember standing there in the parking lot looking at you going, have you been living life right? And you're like, is there something you've been hiding? Is this, no. Trying to get a confession out of you.
That was an evil laugh.
Because I feel like I'm listening in on a Skype call from old family members, but mine wouldn't know what it is.
So anyway, one of the other funny details was after all the, hubbub was done, and I remember because, like, I'd also gotten pulled over. I managed to talk myself out of the speeding ticket, though. But I got a fine, like a $200 fine. I had just gotten $200 from my grandparents. And then I used that to pay the fine. And I'm like, well, this is adulthood.
Yeah, adulthood.
18th birthday, hello.
You had 2 tickets that week. You had 2 tickets.
Oh, did I get a ticket?
You had 2 tickets that week.
Okay.
I think it was much earlier when you're more like a 16, 17-year-old driver that, well, this ties into the cows too. Which you're not even on our end of the county. The other end of the county coming in from...
That time I got a warning. I didn't get anything that
time. So
time.
it's coming in from another county, from going and doing the Twinkle Toes dancing that all my girls do. Over in the city over. So
the town over. It's not so much a city. But the town over?
They're more of a city. We're a town. I don't know.
City.
So coming in the other end, west end of the county. We live on the east end of the county. And she's just driving. And the cop pulls her over, looks at her driver's license, and goes, "Oh, I know where you live," and starts talking about the cow being out. What did he say? I don't know. Asking about her horses. So then she has the cop on the side of the road asking, 16 or 17-year-old her about her horses there. And I think it was that he was a cop that was standing in the middle of the road stopping traffic, or at least attempting to, while I got one of the cows. No, it was a cow loose, because I don't know if it was that time, but our little road, it's a small, very small little road, and it has, I think the speed limit's even 35. I mean, not that anybody, technically nobody goes 35, but still, you shouldn't be going 55 or 60 on that road. And we look over the hill where we're at. You look off to the east, and you're coming over the rise of a hill, and we would sit there on our front porch. Well, Minna would sit there with her horse on the front porch, waiting for everybody to go. Her pony, her wild Mustang, 10 months old out of the wild,
there on the porch
waving people, and we just watch people come over the hill.
At the school buses going by, homeschool life.
Well, either that or your brother's sitting up on top of the roof watching everybody go by.
I did that too. I did map on the roof. That was fun.
So they would come over the hill, and I'm like, why is it when they come over the hill, first of all, speeding, that they're in the middle of the road? Like, they never are on their side of the road. When they come over the hill, they drive straight down the middle line. And that one time, the cop had kind of pulled over and honked, and, Bessie or Moo, somebody was just by the mailbox eating grass on the side of the road. And so he's like, oh, and I was like, oh, okay, these guys are halter trained. I just get in the cow and come on and bring it across the road. So, he's trying to be, gentlemanly and concerned for me. And he's like, oh, I'll stand here in the road, and kind of policeman. He stands right in the center line of the road. And, like an S10 type pickup truck comes flying over the hill, doesn't even stop. And, is in the middle of the road and then swerves around. I mean, there's a police officer and his car. And they just blow right by him. I'm like, are you people kidding me?
Wow.
So,
oh, man.
But yeah, then the cop pulls her over way on the other side of the county. It's like, oh, I know you. I know your animals. What are you doing speeding over here? But that's because you're kind of on a bigger, it's divided highway, 2 lanes each direction.
Believe it or not, I really don't get speeding tickets much at all. There's only just a couple times in the early days, I guess. Yeah,
but I mean that's a hard spot, because you're coming from other town over, and it's a big open straight, wide, 2 lanes both directions road coming in, and it's 65 on a lot of that there. Then you come in near our fairgrounds, and it drops down 55-45 really fast. Right there. So that's an easy place to speed.
I remember it was earlier that week. I was driving to the town over to go do Twinkle Toes dancing.
Why is it Twinkle Toes?
You said Twinkle Toes.
I know. Because the little girls do it now.
Yeah, but
I take grandkids over there now. I've been there for 20 years.
You've been a Girl Scout leader for... well, you weren't a leader before.
I was never
doing Girl Scout stuff for a while. Well, I guess I didn't do stuff for a while.
I don't know. We go over to Twinkle Toes dancing so much that, little sister Vanilla is so into it that we're there till 8 or 8:30 at night, and she still doesn't want to leave. And the owner of the studio is like, oh, I'll just lock up, you can stay as long as you want and play. You're like family here, You can push the door and let yourself out. Just when you close it, it'll be locked.
She was
you can't
just
get back
telling
in.
me,
Little sister
Vanilla was telling me that our dance teacher gets her confused with me, and we'll call her by my name a lot.
Oh, yeah. That, she's in there dancing, and she wears your same kind of purplish jacket. It's in the car. She wears it everywhere. It's like a little bit dark and fuzzy on the inside.
That's my old farm jacket.
Yeah, she wears that in dance all the time. And so, yes, the teachers, several of the teachers, the main one in particular, always call her by Milla's name, big sister's name, because...
Well, little sister, when I was dancing, she would, as a little toddler...
Yeah, even 18 months old.
Just sit there and watch.
Attention span-wise, she would stand there, holding on to the door frame, and for 45 minutes as a 18-month-old, barely 2-year-old, and not move and just be fixated and fascinated.
I put on
watching.
my point shoes today, chat.
Oh, yes, you did.
I was going through my stuff and giving my old like leotards and stuff to her, and I'm like, let me put on my point shoes. It was, my feet's probably changed since pregnancy, and it was a little bit tight, but I did it. I put on my point shoes and I stood on my toes for a little bit.
What's twinkle toes dancing? I don't know. It's dancing. They do ballet. They get on their toes. They do point.
Very nice.
Well, the 5-year-old doesn't do point.
Well, no.
Actually, though, you should see it. Yes, she does. Every time she's done with her class, she comes into the room there that we hang out with that has shoes. And the 3-year-old littlest grandchild sister that goes along, they all, I'm pointing. Yes, they do. They get there. They have to have the shoes on, though. And then they get up and stand on their little, and they go around on their tippy toes, showing me how they're pointing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Going back to the car story, though. So one of the funny moments from that was, like, I'm being just kind of, like, sarcastic and stuff to, like, cope with, like, well, crap, I just ruined the van. And me and the friend that was behind us, we went into Bojangles, and I got like a refill on my drink, and she was grabbing something, and the guy, kind of asked, the guy that had come out before was like, hey, hope you're okay, or whatever, said something to me. And so as we're walking back out and back to the cars, the friend was like, oh, I think he was hitting on you. And I'm like, the only hitting going on today was me on that dump truck. So yeah, that was the week I turned 18. The speeding ticket was like earlier in the week, and I think it was like, maybe he had like...
You were heading to go get a piñata, is what you were doing. You were trying to go get the piñata.
Oh, up went for the dump truck, yeah. But the other one, I was heading to dance.
And then you were still hitting and breaking stuff because you go get the piñata, and you guys were,
you were with me at that point.
No, I didn't go.
Yeah, because we were walking around.
Oh,
we were walking around, and I'm just breaking everything.
Yeah, like trying to get this young guy at this Hispanic grocery store to get a piñata. I know. But I don't know. All this place has turned into like drug money laundering things or something.
Really?
I don't know. So we don't get to go get our Mexican ice cream.
The popsicles.
Yeah, they're popsicles.
Those were good.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was getting pretty janky when you went in there that time. Because there's some young kid there running, everybody had disappeared on him, and he's trying to get a piñata down, and he ended up busting fluorescent lights. Yeah, they ended up knocking all the fluorescent lights out of the ceiling trying to get the piñata down.
It was quite the time.
Yeah, her speeding to get the piñata. So she didn't even start out in the parking lot that she was in, that lovely Bojangles janky thing. She wasn't even there. She was at the grocery store on the other side of the main intersection.
And I don't drive that part of town that much.
Okay, so when I leave that grocery store and I'm heading on east on that main road, I will go from the side of the grocery store into the Bojangles parking lot, pop out in front of it, and turn right and head east. So in her mind, she's like, oh, I'm finished at the grocery store. This is what Mom does. She goes across this thing into the Bojangles parking lot. So she gets in front of the Bojangles parking lot, and you're really close to a big intersection of two main roads, and then is trying to turn left, where all she had needed to do is when she came out, two different things. She came out of the grocery store parking lot.
Oh yeah,
the road that she was crossing to get into Bojangles. If she had actually just turned north on that road is where she was trying to go, instead of going, or there's another way too. There's a traffic light for the grocery store if you go more westerly of the grocery store and pop out at a traffic light.
Thinking back now, like I'm surprised I don't remember getting in like big trouble like from you. I feel like just the event itself was enough, I guess. I wasn't like chewed out for like you crashed the van.
I think I had to downplay it some because little sis, you were 18, 12, and 6, so she was 6, and she gets very attached to things. She's emotionally attached to just about everything. Like it's a joke now to her. I mean, because she's things around the house or her baby clothes, whatever.
Emotional support van.
Yes, she was pretty. We had to promise her that it was fine and we were gonna fix the van. So I had to keep it pretty chill for her too.
Well, I guess that's good for me.
So you got caught speeding, leaving Buc-ee's, but like, okay.
Buc-ee's.
Were you in...
Buc-ee's wasn't around.
No,
this.
Okay, somebody else. Nylon. So, like, Buc-ee's hasn't made its big, intrusive invasion everywhere else until recently. So were you in Texas? Has this been a while? Is this recently? Because talking about Buc-ee's, our little... Well, no. We won't talk about Buc-ee's.
I think too close to doxing.
Yeah. Well, I will just say that when I drive, which is a good long way over here to visit, Milliardo and Minna, I can gas up at a Buc-ee's. There's this one Buc-ee's I can gas up at, and I can make it all the way to the next Buc-ee's and gas up again, and I'm good. So that's
Buc-ee's
what we do.
Is pretty fun. I do like.
But Buc-ee's. I was at Buc-ee's at midnight last Sunday. Yeah, it was about midnight, and it's just such a la-la. I mean, Buc-ee's is a la-la land in itself. But when you get out of the car, being on the road at midnight, 1:00 in the morning, where everything's really cleared out, you can be on the interstates and there's hardly nobody, and then you pull into Buc-ee's and it's like party central, everything brightly lit, still tons of people everywhere at midnight, 1:00 in the morning. Yep. This was a Buc-ee's far away from where I live. But my only other stop to rest my eyes, because I said I was going to make it to that Buc-ee's, about an hour and a half before I got there, and I'm like, I'm going to be really tired. I'm going to have to rest my eyes. But actually I got there and I'm like, well, I guess I keep driving. But before that, when it was only like 10 and I did need to rest my eyes, talking about farm life and, farm people. I mean, pretty big city, and stopped to get gas. And, we don't have smartphones, so I don't have internet on the go. So younger sis here is like getting Wi-Fi from a McDonald's nearby because she wants to pull up a song. And then she couldn't quite download what she wanted. And I'm like, do you want me to park in front of the McDonald's? So, okay, I'll park in front of the McDonald's. And here it was about 9:45. And I said, I'll lean back my seat and I'll just relax and rest my eyes and get this eye strain going so I can drive my other, because at that point, I had a good 5 hours to go. And I think the Buc-ee's was going to be a halfway stop. So I was like 2.5 hours to Buc-ee's. So I'm resting my eyes and we're right at the exit toward a McDonald's, and this really well put together, very slightly Hispanic. Well, I mean, I say that I'm Hispanic. I'm a half Hispanic. So, I'm not saying anything negative about anything. But it comes out this family, really well put together. The little boy, really close contact. He's about 4 years old. But he steps out of the store and just stops, like his parents couldn't even get him to move. And he's like feet anchored in the concrete, pointing at the side of my van. It's, a big white van. And he's going, look at that dirty car. I mean, you've seen it out there. Is it filthy and dirty? I mean, I don't know. It's not like it just rode through, but it's like the mud park, So it's like, and it's big and broad and white. So most of it is not dirty. But by the tire wheel wells, because, you live on a farm. Yeah, there's puddles on our farm and it's been rainy and everything. So there's, streaks of mud splash, just kind of like nice little lines about 6 to 8 inches long, and then not even the middle part, where the running boards. And then you get to the back wheel well and there's lines, but they're like standing right in front of me, looking right at me, probably mortified. And this 4-year-old is going, and he wouldn't stop though. It wasn't just like one time. He literally said something 4 or 5 times in a row, look at that. And like he was aghast. And I'm going, everybody's so anal about their vehicles now that, oh my God, you have to wipe off every spot. Of course, we had to watch what car they got into. So young sister over there is looking and going, well, of course, look at what they're getting into. One of these, kind of souped up, what do you call them, the bigger SUVs with the fun rims and, just not so much a soccer mom SUV looking. But the Hispanic family looking SUV, I don't know.
I saw a great video today that was a guy in had the fake mustache and sombrero and a poncho, and he was going up to a bunch of college kids and was like,
somebody Celis says, I've seen some really dirty cars. Oh my gosh, if young sis here was, we have another just sedan car. It is like a grandpa car. I mean, it's a Mercury Grand.
That they thought you were homeless.
Yeah, it's a Mercury Grand Marquis, and it's a bit rough looking already. It has the paint peeling off and everything. But we park under these trees at our house, these Bradford pears trees, and they spew this tree pollen that turns it black. Not only that, but now in springtime when those white petals, and it had been. So I drove to town one day with her, and we got out, we looked at our car, and oh my God, it was the most insanely ridiculous, dirty looking
I
thing
feel like
covered
car,
in petals.
car
I was like,
washes just
needs to-
spawn. They just pop up.
Oh.
Like there's so many around.
Well, they're,
Or, like, especially
they're
on a Sunday.
disposable. They're disposable in our town. The car
They
washes,
are.
yes, because remember
They
Mr.
are.
K's?
Yeah.
And, it's like a car wash. Well, there's the one that's over on the other side of the grocery store, the way you should have gone to the traffic light.
Mm-hmm.
That one, because I think it's just, I don't know. That's
Is that
been
across from the Chick-fil-A?
No. Where you're at the grocery store the other way.
Like,
it's changed names. It's Apple Shine, Stolen Shine. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shiny something. But they've kept that one going. But all the other car washes in town, they'll build it and it's super popular and all the mechanisms in it work and everything. And then whoever owns it, as
Maybe
it starts to need I think money laundering. They run it into the ground and don't spend any money on upkeep. And so then now you got this car wash that looked like a big old barn and all the little, cubbies where you can go and wash. And it's all surrounded by a chain link fence and all decrepit and falling apart. So then they build the doggy one down. Well, I call it doggy one because I won't say its name. But anyway, down on the main track. Yeah. So they've got that one. And then, it's a couple years later. Well, it's probably been there about 3 or 4 years now.
I remember when it was being built. So it's been a while.
But then, they don't keep it up. So then people start not going there. Oh, everybody went there to begin with. Now nobody will go there because their mechanisms are messed up or they're damaging cars. So anyway, had a fabric roof on her car and it gets so dirty. Oh no, trees make everything dirt. Well, my first car was vinyl topped. I mean, it's a hard top, but a vinyl 69 Mustang. So I don't know. That was fabric because the fabric was all tore up when bought it, had to kind of redo it. Yeah. But yeah, it was a black vinyl top.
What's your favorite college team?
College team? What the heck? College? What's that? We don't do no college team. Okay. I have young sons, old sons, hubbies, and nobody. None of us care about football. No team, no sport. None of us do baseball. None of my sons watch. There's poor old grandpa who's slowly been kind of drug in onto the living on our street thing, so he's grandpa's
making the compound.
Yeah. And so, here it is Super Bowl Sunday and got the new place 3 driveways down with the nice family game room there we've all set up. And he's like, well, I'm setting up cheese and crackers and anybody want to come? And I'm like, no, all the boys are kind of hanging out over here at Vinny's place and they have zero interest in watching a football game. And the only football any of mine have ever watched was when they get in free down at the Scout Hut to the high school game to help raise the flag, and then we stick around a little while, and I don't know.
Yeah,
the only other ball games we go to is over there where we do Twinkle Toes dancing. That library gives out all kind of freebies in the summer.
Oh, the
baseball. It's a farm team for a professional. It's a real baseball stadium. I think
I once saw like a soccer game.
And I've taken you kids to it with the free tickets. And we go because they also give us free hot dogs and free stuff. Ow, everybody's bored to tears. We just find a hill over to the side and you guys run around and be goofy.
We were
and
also
kids.
all pretty young at that time.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch baseball.
Nobody wants to watch baseball.
Let's see. Need to go to uni to get a green card. Anything past that doesn't matter. A green card? I don't know. Well, that's what my mom had.
Yeah. Well, no, she had
a fancy one. She had the glittery. No, my mom got brought over here by an American ambassador.
Yeah.
She didn't know Grandpa or none of them.
No. Not talking about Grandpa, but Grandpa was telling me the story about her being like how she came over here.
Yeah. She came over because an American ambassador was married to a Venezuelan who was really, really stuck up, and they had no children. And she did not like children, but she had nieces. But, my mom's not Venezuelan. This story doesn't even have anything to do with being in Venezuela. They were in another country. But but this American ambassador had a Venezuelan wife. And when he had to do his so many years stint back in the U.S., the family wanted the nieces to go with this Venezuelan aunt back to the U.S. to experience it. Mm-hmm. But she wanted to find somebody to take care of the kids. Somehow that became my mom. So she was brought here. Is your mother single? Oh, we can now get married for a green card. Just say, okay. Well, I mean, we got some good research going into that, but we're not going to talk about that right now. I do have boys that I have to marry off still, and
it's a classic. So I'm surprised it hasn't come before. It's a classic, like, whenever someone, like a family member's on stream, chat has to ask
if you're single. Ha ha ha. No. Well, haven't I talked about the random, hubby, Grandpa Vanilla there at the house that I woke him up when he finally actually got to sleep past 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And he didn't go lift weights with, so yeah, I got a hubby. He lifts weights. Sounds good, right?
Haven't you said, like,
if something happened to Grandpa Vanilla or Papa, he goes Papa, because I'm Mama Vanilla. But he's Papa Vanilla. If something were to happen to Papa Vanilla, in this farming world, and we have commercial farming enterprises going on and stuff, you have guys coming around all the time, for repairs or just the random people that have to come by every month for different things, and then service guys. And it used to be that Papa Vanilla wasn't around very much. I mean, he just wasn't. He was busy with off-farm jobs. So, and I talk, and I'm comfortable talking to people, and I'm not weird about talking to other men around me. And Papa Vanilla is not weird about his wife talking to people. Yeah,
you're the one you spearhead everything.
Yeah, it's
you
funny
just has to show up inside.
Then guys that'll be talking to me, if my husband get real worried, like, oh no, this dude's going to be upset that I'm talking to his wife. And I'm oblivious to that. I just don't even see that. It goes over my head.
You're the one, you're like, I want a farm. I'm going to get a farm.
Your
husband, you work on a farm now.
We have this farm. It's a commercial enterprise. I mean, a big commercial enterprise, the main part of it, not our hobby stuff. The cows and, horses and goats and dogs. That's all
the reason you
stuff.
got the farm.
And they're always the most trouble, People go like, oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if I talk about what type of commercial farm I have here, but so the commercial farm, people are like, oh wow, they want to know all about it. Is that so much work and that's hard? And I'm like, no, it's all operates itself. Everything feeds and waters itself.
The phone, it calls the phone. The computer calls the phone if there's something off.
Yeah, it's like, all our other janky hobby stuff is what escapes and, needs to be fed and watered and messed up and all that.
The commercial farm, it's pretty much all contained into, like, the little houses.
What was Nylon saying? The hell's a green car? Oh, I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, I would run everything because it was all on my idea to get that. So, okay, it's a big commercial farm that's a lot of work, and we bought it and it worked. They were like, why did you buy this farm? That's a whole lot of work. And he said, because my wife wanted a horse, wanted to be able to have horses. And they're like, why didn't your wife just go sell Tupperware to afford a horse or something? So no, instead, I found this farm, going into foreclosure stuff, this crazy roller coaster trying to get it. And you know what he does? Yeah, I'm a predatory buyer. So I keep buying stuff up and down this road. He goes to closing and he signs the papers, on this whole deal. And he stands up and he goes, good, now I can go look around and see what this place looks like. He's like, I purposely didn't even walk around and look because in his line of work, it's all about, repair and fixing things right. And he would just walk around and see everything that was wrong with it.
We did no air conditioning or central heating in that house, though.
Yeah, so
it's been,
anyway,
it's been 13.
So we were starting to say that I always said, I'm dealing with these guys and everything, and I was like, dang, I'll mention and say things about my husband or whatever, and I realized one day, if all these guys coming and going knew, thought that I was single, oh my gosh, what a pain to deal with these people. And so I said, if something ever happened to you, I'm sorry, but I have a ghost husband. I have a husband that's just not here right now. I talk about him. He has a whole life. Because really, the first 5 years at that farm, nobody ever saw him.
Yeah.
I ran everything and, then, I dealt with everybody. Because when we bought the place, we had to renovate from the ground up, other than the structure of the building. I mean, it
was a lot.
I mean, even the wiring and, and everything, every line in there. And so we had a whole construction thing going. And, I'm the one that took all the bids for that and talked to the people. And, of course, I was clueless about a lot of things. The one thing I wish I'd done different is those side fans.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why those side fans, especially on house number 1, couldn't have just been on the other side.
Mm.
You know, for all the times that we're hanging out there or doing cookouts or doing whatever. Yeah, those side fans, I wish I'd put them on the other side.
Mm.
And I wish people hadn't been so idiotic about when we would ask them, should we do natural gas or propane? And nobody could give us a straight answer or the pros and cons of it.
It's
and
annoying.
We did propane. And then, now we have natural gas. And then it was like, why didn't we just have natural gas to begin with? Let's see, what do we have
ambitious.
here? That's fine. I'll duel your husband for your hand in marriage.
Let's wait. You think you have a chance?
My husband is on tour.
So,
he's a Navy SEAL. Real dangerous, jealous man.
Yeah. What was it? Papa Vanilla's grandfather. He has a lot of stories about him, doesn't he?
Which one?
The one that, like, there was a bull, and he took, like, a draw pin in his hand.
It's his dad's dad. It's Grandpa.
In the face.
Grandpa Vanilla's dad's dad was, like, 90 years old when Grandpa Vanilla was, like, a 10-year-old kid. And he was still tough as nails. And cows, I mean, cows was his thing. They lived in another state, in a very rural area, in a state that's insane now. Gosh, you wouldn't find anything rural there now. But, they lived, I mean, to where, but he was, I don't know.
I just remember
he was 90 years old, and his wife would have been, let's see, because if it was like, is it a 14?
I just remember the story about Papa Vanilla was helping him with like a septic tank or something out in the field, and then he had to take a bucket back to the truck, but of course all the cows see the bucket, start following and running, and so 10-year-old Papa Vanilla gets scared and runs and jumps in this truck, and then the grandpa is like, what are you doing, get back over here, and 10-year-old grandpa or Papa Vanilla is like, the cows are gonna eat me, because all the cows running. He had a great story too of there was a calf that got out, and like the calf was born, but then somehow like was in the neighbor's field, and it was like we're looking everywhere, calves like disappear. I remember me and one of the other brothers were looking for a calf, and he was going on and about like all these animals with camouflage. No, it's calves in a field. You can't find. But anyway, Papa Vanilla had managed to find the calf because like the mama cow was mooing, and he was passing by when the little baby cow. There's a little me. And so he picked up the calf and was walking back to the fence. But then all the other cows in the field,
like,
they started like running. It was great how he's describing it, where it's like the way they're like, they run. It's like they take a big like step with their front feet, and their back feet kind of hips swing and stuff. So they started kind of charging and chase after him. So he's running through the fields with this calf in his arms and has to like slide under the barbed wire.
That was one of Moo's. After that, we never let Moo keep her babies. Oh my gosh. Every time Moo kept a baby,
Rika kept stealing the babies from the cows.
Yes, that's hilarious.
Her
Mustang that we got 10 months old out of the wild. If there's a pregnant cow in there and it gives birth, we wake up in the morning to a Mustang literally standing all 4 feet, legs over top of a calf, spinning and driving away
the mom.
All the cows, every cow around. And and then we have to try to, sneak, because we have to try to get some food and get the Mustang away and run in and grab the baby and get it. But Moo, we were out there in the riding ring, and we saw Moo had stuff hanging out about. We're like, oh, cool, Moo's going to have a baby, And when we got pictures of little sis Vanilla, doing piggyback rides, running around the ring, because we were all just waiting to see some action happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, about noon, 1 o'clock, for some reason, we had somebody coming around the commercial farm.
Oh, and the Chica is a horse.
Yeah, Chica's
a horse, not a cow.
The Mustang.
She would steal the baby cows.
No, it was a Mustang, a wild Mustang that, at the time she was probably about 3 years old, and we got her when she was 10 months old out of the wild, and so she never had a baby herself or anything. She still does.
We did have the horse that we didn't realize was pregnant, and then ended up with the baby. That was fun though.
Yeah, that's the ones we were talking about that came back from King of Onion Bianca.
Yeah.
We were really wondering, like, the Moo's going to pop out a baby. Mm-hmm. And somebody was over to do something for the commercial enterprises, and I mentioned it, and they're like, oh, I know how to sleeve a cow, I don't know. And all this time, it's one thing I haven't done. I have not gloved up and sleeved a cow. That means, putting on a gloved rubber thing that goes all the way up to your shoulder,
One of my favorite Instagram.
And then your hand goes in the cow's butt, practically all the way up to your shoulder.
Yeah, but Kate, one of the ladies on Instagram with their homestead and stuff, she has a friend that will AI their cows, has to stick their hand in there. And so she has like a running joke of like getting all these, every time he comes over and gets a picture of him with a hand in a cow.
Yeah, so Moo, we're waiting for Moo. And then the thing is we suddenly realized in the barn owl, in that floofy dirt, the barn owl we don't use. Yeah, there was a nice, big, full placenta. I mean, but we hadn't seen a baby yet all day. We just saw stuff dripping out of Moo's butt. So, what was uncalled for, the potteries.
I think saying hot, maybe sticking a hand up a cow.
Oh, yeah. I have not done that yet. I don't know. I did stuff like that when I was a teenager at the vet hospital.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot that you worked at the vet hospital.
Yeah, I loved as a teenager going to school and describing in detail how we neuter cats, because we don't use a cutting implement.
See, I wouldn't... obviously I was homeschooled.
Well, I mean, we use a small cutting implement for a slice on the sack, but we don't actually use a cutting implement to remove the testes.
That drifter, that horse that showed up, and then we had...
Yeah, another stray horse.
A stray horse that showed up at a friend's place, and then we held on to for a bit, and we had the vet come over and neuter. And I remember thinking in my head, like, oh man, if I went to school, I had this scenario in my head where I'm like, I would like have called out of school in the morning because I had to help. Like, I was holding the leg while the vet was like... it was a weird sound it made, but then I was thinking of like showing back up to school and being like, oh yeah, this and this about what's the word, castrating.
Yeah, castrating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I didn't have a school to go to brag about that.
Yeah, so yeah, no, we had somebody over. We found the placenta. He's sleeping. He's like, there's no baby in there. And then we're like, well, where's the baby? And we just kind of really, and then of course I get on cow forums and talk about, and they're all talking about, do you have any predators? You have this, but no, not where we're at. Not there's no predators.
Not in the middle of the day like that.
And of course then we're thinking, okay, it lays down on the fence line and it's just barbed wire, and then it stands up on the other side of the fence line, and then babies and mamas just hide their babies. I mean, the cows, they will go hide their babies, and so everybody says, is the mom upset? If the mom's not upset, the mom knows exactly where her baby's at. She's just hiding it from you. So, yeah, it was, and I think I sent them out because I kept going in the house. Of course, I don't have a smartphone, and this was
a while ago.
Yeah, because 12-year-old young sis was only about 3 years old in those pictures of riding around.
Yeah.
So that's a good 10, 11 years ago. And I kept running in the house and being on the cow forum, asking for advice, and going back out there. And we're going and walking and listening. And they had gone walking all through that neighbor's pasture, we call it the hayfield.
Hayman's field.
And it was right before dark.
Yeah.
And I actually, he was disgruntled about it. I actually asked, please go back out there one more time. And he went out there. And by that point, the mama cow had decided to actually be anxious and pacing the fence line and mooing. Mm-hmm. And you get into that hayfield, and it's a big, broad, and it's a kind of big, hilly thing. But just as you get started, there's this big brambly patch there. So yeah, that played a role in it too. So then he was looking everywhere, and he just happened to be close enough when the calf responded with a little that he heard it. Mm-hmm. And he said that was his downfall. Is then when he got it, those other, we have tame cows. Yeah. But all the cows over there are those big black beefy things, and they just, if they think there's feed or think there's something wrong, they go, and they're running. So he gets the calf, and he had to go around that big brambly brushy thing when the cow started chasing him. Yeah. And so I know he got to the fence, and he literally threw the calf in front of him to slide it, like sliding into home plate, and then, and threw himself down and trying to roll down under the barbed wire.
Gosh, so many times of having to step through barbed wire on the farm.
Yeah.
Oof, so. Yeah, that was a crazy one. Okay, so I think early days, I remember that one big parade of getting the cows back after. Okay, so what was it? Team Blue Plant. Why does it seem like all cows have escapism complex? You need to meet Benji
Moudini. Benji Mudini.
He had an escape complex.
Descended from, at one point when we were trying to, because
he was
we were getting threatened by the law at that point, because the subdivision behind us, be like, well, Mr. So-and-so came out with his little dachshund at 4:00 in the morning, let it go pee, and there's a longhorn bull in his front yard. Yeah. And so we couldn't figure out, my husband actually hid behind a tree. And because he would stand around and do, as long as Bendy could see you, he would not pull his tricks. And then we had to really, really, really hide and watch him. And he could stand flat-footed, not even a running jump or anything, and jump over, a complete field fence. I don't know how high are field fences, 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, they're more than 4 feet.
Like, you wouldn't imagine an animal that size, or even like a dog or something, jumping over a fence.
He was so nimble. And, I don't know, why do the cows have escape complexes? Because they're ornery and horny is what the females are hussies, You hear all this stuff about, oh, it's so awful, that these, you keep impregnating these, basically raping female cows. And I was like, holy cow, if you don't get that female cow pregnant when she's in heat, she goes tearing down your fences trying to find the nearest bull in a 5-mile radius.
Also, isn't it like healthier for them to stay?
Yeah. If
you have any cow questions or raw milk questions, ask them now.
Yeah. The dairy cows, if we aren't milking them, if we let them dry up before they're pregnant, they actually build up so much fatty tissue that they get fat all around their ovaries and everything, and it can be very difficult for a dairy cow to breed back if you've just let them, because in their dry period, when they're not producing milk, if you dry them off, they don't have much demand, and then even just on grass they get fat. You don't have to give them any feed. Let's see, can male cows lactate? Yeah, that's really funny. There has been several times that I've gotten a brand new milk cow, and I'm pulling it off the trailer. We got family friends around, and I'm talking about how I'm going to milk it and everything. And their first question is it a boy or a girl?
Reminds me of was it Barnyard?
Yeah, heifers are harlots. And then if you don't breed them, every 3 weeks, they're going to be, they get possessed. I mean, they've jumped. I was carrying young cis vanilla, and Moo jumped on me from behind. And Moo was big. We have littler cows now.
Yeah.
But can male cows lactate? Male cows cannot lactate. Why? Whole milk spoils so fast. Not our raw whole milk. And it doesn't even spoil.
It doesn't spoil. It just changes.
Yeah, it sets in the refrigerator for 3 weeks and as fresh as can be. And if we just set it out by a space heater, it turns into clabber. If we if we just take the cream and set it out, it turns into sour cream. We can make it into yogurt, and even as it ages, it just... it's not bad for you. It just changes.
It does. And the fermentation, that good
does
fermentation.
colostrum milk give you superpowers? Yeah, and I have some Hispanic people, man, they want to pay a price of gold. That one lady, every time I sold her colostrum one time, and she's a Facebook friend. So I have to be careful if I want to keep my colostrum not to post that a baby is born. As soon as I post a cute picture of a new cow baby, she's literally at my driveway from the town an hour over wanting to pay the price of gold for my liquid gold. And they make for their family a special Guatemalan recipe, or I don't know.
I mean, the colostrum is really
great. I think
great.
The Guatemalans were the guys that came and slaughtered the bull for us right there on property. I don't know what her nationality was. I don't think maybe she's from Ecuador. I don't know. They have special family recipe to make with the colostrum.
I mean, the colostrum is good. I think there's like a market for like powdered colostrum or stuff. Like people will sell it.
Yeah, people get upset that dairy cows are all given women names, and that's somehow sexist.
Wait, what? Wait, hang on.
Hey, my dairy cows are named Odd and Even.
Yeah.
And
because they look very, very similar, but like they had like what, different tags or something?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. He said because they had ear tags and one was an odd number and one was an even number. I thought because one has a really wonky udder, and that one's odd. And Even has a nice even udder, and that one's even.
How is that sexist when it's literally like they're girls?
Yeah, so Benji Mudini was being quite an escape artist. And then, so there's the field there off to the east we call the hay field, and where Moo's baby was lost, and the hayman's baby. he's been kind of an iffy neighbor, you know. I've had to tread really lightly not to, you know, and he's the type that if he comes around kind of angry, I have to make a Papa Vanilla hide. And then I go out there, you know, kind of being a chatty, dumb blonde, ditzy kind of tone him down, especially if it seems like he's been drinking. Oof. Yeah, it has to be because, you know, otherwise it's the threatening to shoot something, which he did shoot those little pigs. What? Yeah, that was God. But the funny thing is about that guy, he owns his property next to us. We're going to own that someday. Oh, I know. Okay, so we've surrounded him now. We have him surrounded. You know, we have him boxed in. So... You know, I have an L shape. So I got my property, and then I got this L strip that runs behind. Yeah, Mordor is the property. It runs behind everything he owns. Him and his family had been there since he was a little boy, and it was a dirt road, and there was 10 people on the road, and he knows everything and everything. And so that's his mama's old place there and his place. Well, there's a place on the other side of him that connects to our Mordor that I didn't know was there, and kind of by accident and very suddenly last October, I realized it was there when it went up for sale. I just didn't even know there was a house there. And somehow I ended up buying that, not intending to. But so now we make a complete U around him. And I haven't really spoken to him because we bought it in December but moved in to it in January. And I actually waved at him this week. He was on his mower as I went from one driveway and passed him and stopped and turned into the other. So, I mean, he's got to know. I don't know what he thinks. But, oh, man. Yeah, one time there was 2 miniature pigs that had escaped, and they were in his yard, and I didn't know they were. But a police officer pulled up and was kind of like, you know, your pigs are over here. Do you got something you can come pick them up in? I'm thinking, you know, he's like, they're not going anywhere. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. He kind of shot him with bugs. Are they dead? The police officer just kind of hemming and hawing. He's like, no. And I'm kind of like, do I need to bring the horse trailer? He's like, no. And I'm kind of a little bit afraid of this whole situation. So, you know, I kind of didn't even pull up to the house. I let the police officer pull up to the house, and I kind of pulled part way up. I'm like, how angry is this man? And now there were 2 pigs. I mean, they were there and alive. He just filled them full of buckshot, but they were just kind of laying there, stunned. I don't know much about buckshot, but yeah, and I don't know. Next time I saw him was quite a while later in the feed store. You know,
oh, really?
Yeah, in our community feed. So everybody's there, and everybody's super happy and nice and friendly. Mm-hmm. So of course I'm just like, oh hey, you know, and a little bit awkward. And he's like, oh hey, and he goes, oh, you know, I'm really sorry about those pigs. I wouldn't have called the police. That was my daughter that called the police. And I'm thinking, boy, you know, I mean, you were high as a kite, either on pills or something that night. And right. I mean, it wasn't your daughter out there screaming and yelling and brandishing a whatever gun and shooting it full of pellets. But yeah, oh, man. Yeah.
So anyway, Benji, the escape artist, I just remember, like, I have the one memory of what's this?
Annexing territory into her Mordor.
The Dark Lord Mama Vanilla, yeah. So anyway, I think one of the biggest episodes of cows getting out was, at the time we had, Bessie?
Name your cows in robot code. Okay, you cannot tell Papa Vanilla this.
What?
Papa Vanilla, about... You know, what a PWX3 dash one, and DX730. Mm-hmm. I can't say all of them because, I mean, the ones I do have memorized are actually like passwords on different of our accounts, so I'm not going to say them. But machines. Yeah, he knows machines.
Yeah.
I know. So, caterpillars and Blawnox and paving and earth moving equipment, and they all have numbers that start with like PX something something or D5 something something for a dozer. I mean, D's mean dozer, he's told me. But he rattles off. So he would name things. This says CW 1982 34. I mean, so
we've had so many that
he would name those, and they all
Disney characters. We had Olaf, we had Cinderella, and then Jacques was her baby.
I guess that was when little sis was more like a 5 and 6 year old.
Yeah, probably.
Well, little sis was a 3-year-old when we got Moo, and that was the first one she named. She named it Moo. Yeah. And we couldn't talk her into anything else, so she was with us. We went to go get Moo.
Yeah.
And she named.
Okay, so the one story, I feel like one of the, like, a pivotal moment was Benji had escaped and taken we only had the 2 other cows.
Yeah, so where Benji escaped this time, instead of, you know, leaving our fence and going into the subdivision or the neighbors, so Mr. Hayfield's property there, he had found this little breach and gone through and had done it in a way that the other milk cows followed him. I know we had Bessie. We must have had Tilly because it was
Bessie and it was Helga, the other longhorn.
Oh, okay. We didn't have Tilly. So Bessie was tame.
Tilly was the one with the bot flies. Told that story before.
So yeah. So she wasn't around long. That one and Star, they were poorly jerseys. I felt bad for. Actually, Tilly got bought kind of on the side and see, and I wasn't home. We were up at camp when Tilly got delivered, and I think I would have rejected her if I was home when she came off the trailer, but Papa Vanilla, was like, okay, paid the money for her, and was like, yikes. She wasn't. We got her son, Dodger. Was that Dodger?
Dodger we had. I remember Dodger.
But she came with a new baby. The one that came off the trailer, yeah, that had to be Tilly. Tilly I didn't keep long. She was a poorly cow and not worth what I paid for. But she had a baby with her. And the baby, because remember, we were like, oh, it looks like a baby deer. Like, was really young. And Moo hadn't had a baby, so it was our first baby cow on the farm. So we were like, oh my gosh, it looks like a little baby deer. So Benji is his own beast. And
that too, because that was our first foal, and so we were a lot friendlier.
We got Benji, so we got Bessie as a milk cow, and we were like, oh well, let's get Benji and Helga, these longhorns, to raise for meat, and they were 8-9. They were really Well, Helga wasn't. Yeah, Helga wasn't that friendly, but Benji was, and we made Benji friendlier and friendlier and friendlier. Because that was kind of fun. We have later learned that you don't let the bulls be friendly. You don't let them learn to come up into your space.
Needing to go into the first pasture and being like,
here's a little young 10-year-old, Minna trying to go take care of her rabbits in the barn, and she's kind of trying to find a spot in the barbed wire fence to slip through the fence without the bull seeing her and run up to the barn, because the bull would be right there at the fence.
And it's a longhorn.
Yeah, he had big long horns. And
it's even the friendliest bull, as soon as there's a cow in heat, it's
no
bueno.
It's they'll turn eventually, and you don't want them to be used to being right up in your space every day, because if they go to turn, you want a little bit of distance.
Once we learned better, and it was just kind of we just kind of stomp Benji, or frown at the bulls constantly to make them keep know that to always keep their distance.
Yeah, the older sons got really good at that, to the point that when it came time we had to load one in a trailer, I had to make, especially that second one, go hide, because he made a very good hobby of being mean to the bulls, and the bull would not come anywhere near the feed, the loading pen, anywhere. We could make him hide, because it's they were used to keeping their space. But yeah, Benji got out in the backwoods into Mordor, and then the two cows, Helga and Bessie, followed him. And so they went all the way through Mordor, behind all those other properties, even past the one that we now own. And you come to a big field. You come to and then they went across the road.
So it was at least a couple miles away from our house.
Yeah, so the random weird guy that used to come over and want to coon hunt all the time, and would open the gate and drive through and leave it open, and got our horses out in the middle of the night a few times. He seen the cows, came running down to the house and alerted me, and I actually had little sis
she was tiny.
Yeah, literally like a 4-month-old on my back, and we went down there and ended up putting the milk cow on a rope and halter, and the others were just going to follow. But everybody in the road was entertained, and so we had 4-wheelers and golf carts and police cars.
It was a whole parade. Trucks. I remember walking, kind of stumbling into the brambles on the side of the road and getting a little.
This is 12-year-old Minna.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of got some thorns on me or something. I just remember this big procession, and at that point it was all right, Benji is burger now.
Yeah, he was so bad we brought him back, and luckily it wasn't COVID times, because now you want to get a processing date, they're talking about a year out. So it was going to be 2 weeks before we could get him into the processor. And he was so smart and so goofy in there that we actually went up to that top fence line and took tarp just to kind of defer him from being at the fence, and hung tarp all along the fence. And we had him there in the pasture, within sight from the kitchen, so we could keep an eye on him. But yeah, not me, Grandma Vanilla, but great Grandma Vanilla, the one that came over here with the ambassador. She was visiting one time, and that's the funny thing is she grew up in a very, very poor rural South American area, and to her, she almost felt sad seeing me farming. Yeah, she really goes. I mean, she was so happy when we moved out of the wretched state we lived in that's turned crazy, and we moved here, and we had a really nice, split level, foyer, basement, 2-story house in a neighborhood set way back off the road with community pool across the street.
It was a good time.
And and she felt that was just really something. She liked that we had that. And then we go to the farm, and to her, that's poor and that's dirty. And that's yuck, and that's...
But now it's what everyone wants to do. Like, I talked to so many people that are like, yeah, we want to have our food and our farm and our homestead, and it's like, yeah, it's work, but it's like, and to me, it's like the quality of food.
And then she looks at me and she's like, how did you learn to milk a cow? How did you learn to make cheese? And I go, YouTube?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all what all the cool kids do.
Yeah, but yeah, Benji, we learned not to let, an intact, and the most dangerous bull is a bottle raised bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to bottle raise a bull. You can bottle raise a steer, if somebody's buying something off of us and it's going to be bottle raised, take its nuts off. Which, you know what? We didn't even finish Dumbo, the black calf that was loose, at the neighbor's yard all week that I said ain't my cow until I realized, oops, by the way, it was... That I was saying that they were bringing the horses back from camp, and I started going off on a tangent about how they're wanting a rope. Then they're asking me about Dexter cattle. Well, we're standing there, and I'm giving her an example of the size. I said, see this one, Dumbo? He's a year old, he's pretty darn small. He still looks like a calf. And I'm looking at him, and go, wait a minute. He's got balls. He's got testicles hanging down. And I was like, so then I went, wait a minute. Maybe that's not Dumbo. Maybe that was a stray cow. Because didn't we steer Dumbo? I mean, we were bottle raising him in the side. And then I'm asking Papa Vanilla, who, I don't know, he's getting old, and he's just like, always like, I don't know. I don't remember. He doesn't remember anything anymore. And I'm like, wouldn't we have? Maybe we didn't. I don't know. So now I realize, I guess he's a bull. I don't know.
Oh, no.
He's young and he's little. We're going to eat him, sooner rather than later. Keep an eye on him. I want chickens. I want to eat them. So chickens. We end up with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of chickens. But our chickens don't give us eggs. But our cows give us eggs. So that's good. We get lots of eggs from our cows.
What?
How many times have you drug out a couple jars of milk and handed them over the gate to somebody in the driveway, and they hand us eggs back?
We missed someone saying that someone got arrested. Hang on.
Okay.
Let me go back. Where was it? I'd seen it earlier. I think it was up here.
So yeah, but then I don't know. So then I'm standing there going, holy cow, maybe this stray little calf that I said was ours isn't ours. And I was a little bit salty about stray cows when this started to happen, with that black and white one. Because here a couple years ago, I guess it's about the time, let's see, about Vinny's wedding. And so that was like 7 years ago or something. And we had a real drought, and then we had...
Ooh, yeah, that was a bad drought.
Yeah, and then we had tons and tons and tons of rain that next earlier. There was a young black calf that showed up, and it looked kind of hunchback.
We had dogs show up a lot, too. We had several dogs.
Yeah, we've had so many dogs through the house. But that black thing just never looked poorly. Mm-hmm. And then it was in there, in the second pasture, with all that rain, and then Cinderella started to look, it was Cinderella's calf started to look, because we ate Cinderella for the wedding. I was trying to eat Helga for the wedding. Yeah. Yes.
Killed Fat and Calf for the wedding.
But we were going to eat Helga, the ugly stepsister, for the wedding. I mean, I was doing a whole cow for the wedding, but we couldn't get her on the trailer.
Yeah, but she was pregnant.
But we didn't know. She had never, she just would not have a baby. Mm-hmm. And, so Cinderella got on the trailer. So we ate Cinderella for the wedding instead of Helga.
Look at the food, I'll go on the trailer.
Ugly, yeah. So that was just... And then, Helga popped out a baby like 2 months later, and I was like, oh my God, I'm glad we didn't eat Helga for the wedding. Oops.
That's crazy. I still can't believe you made all the food for that. You and the neighbor.
Well, see, Helga only ever had one baby. And actually, you know what? I think the Helga baby that was born after the wedding was Mistake.
Oh,
yeah, I think
okay.
that was Mistake. That's where that name came
It also
from.
sounds like mistake.
Yeah. So Helga and Benji had come together forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Helga never got pregnant. And it seemed like, I mean, I don't know, it was like 3 years. Because usually we get them pregnant about the time they're about 3 months older, over a year, so that they have a baby about their second birthday.
There's the comment I was looking for. It says, I know somebody who was
on live PD arrested for trafficking raw milk. Oh,
dun,
yes.
dun, dun.
What was it? One of the kids, was it youngest son? He went way up to the Canadian border last summer in a canoe, and I think they were having to do these team building, let's kumbaya times around the campfire and share their personal feelings and their struggles or something, and talking about illegal stuff. And he's like, most illegal thing we've done is sell raw milk. But cow eggs. Yeah, cow eggs are pretty good.
Yeah, what was it?
They're better than store eggs.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually, I saw a video about not letting calves get too friendly. They made the same point, also pointing out how dangerous it can get when they get too comfortable with laying down too close.
Yeah.
Lap cows.
Yeah.
Cow's kind of a lap cow. She thought she was a dog for a long time.
Yeah, Cow lived in the house for a good long while, and her name's Angel, and when she was born, she was very
cold.
Yeah, she didn't do well. She had pneumonia, but then she just lived in the front yard with the dogs, and people that would come and get our illegal raw milk, they would laugh because as they would slow down along the fence line, the dogs
for non-human consumption.
Yeah.
Of course, we've never ever sold milk for anyone to drink. It is clearly labeled not for human consumption. This is a legal statement.
There's lots of people that in our community that are raising goats. They need pet milk for their baby bottle goats.
Exactly.
That's what they need.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Anyway, people will stop by to get some milk, and the dogs would run the fence line barking, and Angel Cow would run the fence line mooing.
Remember there was like construction or something on the road.
And the funniest thing about because she's a milk cow now, but and she was such a pet, and she actually wasn't very pushy for a bottle baby. We would have extra milk, feed them more than one bottle. It's a big old half-gallon bottle. Mm-hmm. But I would actually bring a pitcher out with me, an open pitcher, and it was actually over by the TARDIS. I would set the pitcher up on the TARDIS. Mm-hmm. I would feed her a bottle, and then I would pop up. And if you've ever bottle fed, I mean, they are butting and pushing, and if you pull the bottle away, they're like all over you, sucking on anything they can get hold of, butting you, looking for the bottle. She was actually so polite and non-pushy. I mean, I trained her, and I could stop, and I could pop open the bottle, pour the rest in from the pitcher, give her another bottle, and, the only time was if you were at the front door doing it, and you just didn't close the front door all the way. She'd just push the front door in and chase you to the kitchen down the hallway. She'd come down the hallway into the kitchen looking for her second bottle. So she wasn't pushy. She was respectful. And we petted her, and if people came over, because Milliardo eventually came to the farm and found his farm girl, and that cow was just there coming up to hang out with you like a big old dog.
I would sit on the porch and read or write and hang out with the cow on the porch. And there was one time there was construction on the road, and there was the construction guys or whatever, they were over and petting the cow and stuff. And you came walking up hey, you guys like my dog?
So she was expecting the ball. Cinderella got eaten. Cinderella eaten for the wedding. Oh yeah, I did the wedding feast.
Did it wander in? The cow would push into the house if you had the door open.
And then
that was about a miniature horse. Yeah, and little sis was painting its nails.
Yeah, she had it tied to the handle of the refrigerator and was painting its hooves purple with fingernail polish.
Yeah, that was the miniature horse.
Beer Man walked in one day. He literally did. He walked in on Chick-fil-A Cow Day of all things too.
Oh, good old Chick-fil-A Cow Day. Yeah, I made him dress up as a cow.
Well, yeah, you weren't even with us. He went with me and your siblings.
You were at work. One of the few times I've worked.
I know. Yeah, one of the few times she had a job over in the town where we do Twinkle Toes stands.
I had to do monograms.
So yeah,
And so I couldn't get that day off. I got part of the day off, but I couldn't get the whole day off. It was an interesting situation. And so it was Beer Man has only ever met her in person for the first time. Hang out here with Mama Vanilla while the girl of his dreams goes off to work for the day, and it's let's go
meet in the other town, but it's Chick-fil-A Day. So we have to hit the Chick-fil-A in our town and get free food because, you know, on Chick-fil-A Day in July, everybody dressed up like a cow. Like if you have one item on, if you have like a headband or a cow nose, they'll give you a sandwich. But like if you come in all dressed up, you know, so we didn't even have to recreate it every year. I had a whole bag in the closet with our cow shirts and our cow ears made of felt. You know, Vinny's wife is creative, you know. Yeah. So we kept all this stuff. So all we had to do is pull out the bag, and he's with us. We got lots of extras. We're like, here's a cow nose for you. Here's a headband with ears.
Here's a spotted shirt.
Yeah, here's a shirt that's, you know, some just had like pieces of denim, black denim fabric, you know, glued all over them. Some had black handprints all over them, like white T-shirts with black handprints. I don't know. Those things never got washed. They probably,
but they really wore like a couple hours a year.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Beer Man was a good sport. Went with me to town to go get, you know, food at Chick-fil-A dressed as a cow.
Had to impress the family.
Yeah. But the reward was, you know, after we got that, we went to the hipster coffee shop waiting, and in walks Minna, and his face lit up. Aww. I knew he was genuine when I saw the look on his face when Minna walked in the coffee shop.
So I had the job, and so he hung out. It was like a day and a half.
We are a cow cult. But he loves Cow. He actually had to come with the rings and get a pose picture in front of Cow.
Yeah, after we got married, when we stopped by the farm on our way off, and we had to get little pictures with Cow.
Yeah.
But no,
that's right. Cow had to do a marriage. You stood there on the front porch with Cow. Yeah, you had a cow marriage.
We got cow married.
I think after somewhere is he listening to us?
Probably. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but I had to work, so I remember because he like came to visit on, like, he was traveling through the area, and so it was like, oh, finally get a chance to like meet in person. So we got to visit, and we talked, and I was like, oh, I'm so afraid of love. I don't want to break any hearts. We should just be friends for now. Neither of us believed anything I said. Because
even Papa Vanilla was like, yeah, you guys were like dating. That took all of about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? One time we were like saying how long we were dating, and Papa Vanilla was like, you guys never dated. You guys were just
dated
like
for like 5 minutes,
and then you were engaged.
Yeah.
But I remember I drove. I had work. Like he visited for like a day and a half or something like that. And then. Like he was leaving.
Just wander in. It really was that he just wandered in. I mean, it was just this.
Well, I mean, I was talking to him.
I know, but it was a vague talking to him online, and then you didn't even want to invite. You were like, it feels weird for me to say. You're like, Mom, can, you know, and you.
Well, I was burned. I was a bit burned by things.
Yeah.
But no, it was like I realized that I had to marry him when I was like, oh, we don't know what's happening next in our lives and this and that. We should just like be friends for now. And then it was like that morning, we said bye, and I drove to work, and then he drove off to where he was going. And so I drove, like, it was like a 45-minute drive to work. And I'm like smiling the whole way. I'm smiling all day. I'm singing to myself when I'm driving home. And I think you and Papa Vanilla were standing in the driveway when I got back. And I was just like, what do you guys think?
Like the guy with the raw milk stain said he managed to get the case thrown out because the police were doing a sting operation on raw milk. Luckily,
what? I've never heard of that.
Well, here where you live in this state, there has been, some, especially like, in this state, there's been people that have like a co-op that they bring in milk from a neighboring state north of you, and they have a meeting point, and there's been stings for that. Now the state I live in is not, I mean, there's not been any stings or any big repercussions of it. And why is raw milk restricted?
Because they can't regulate it.
Yeah, they say it's dangerous.
It's like, the best way to get it is like find a small farm.
I do not ever advertise milk for sale. I share milk with friends, and we keep it very simple, and we get surveys from the state government in the mail wanting to know our production amount and this and that. We throw those away. We do not register for a license to bottle milk for pet consumption, because you can. I mean, I could do my licensing thing, which costs, basically it's just a whole lot of money. I would I would only make enough money in a year to cover the cost of the darn licensing. And then I could print out my own label and put it on things, and they could sell it at like the nature market in town. I mean, people do that down there where Vinny used to live. There was some people that I bought and sold cows with, and they do that. And they're back and doing it now. And they ask me, oh, why don't you? I'm like, no, I don't want to feel like I have to have this many cows and this much production. Like all this fall and winter, I had to tell people, nope, sorry, nope, I don't have no milk to share.
When you came up here and you brought goats and you had to bring a bunch of milk to feed the goats, and then people kept calling you like, I need milk for my animals.
Yeah, so I got makes deals with alcohol. Well, we've had sitting, it's probably still there, up on top of the big deep freezer back in the laundry room. There's some quart bottles and very, very clear stuff that it's actually the husband of the friend that was behind you with that accident has given us over time. It's always like, what's on top of your fridge? Oh, you don't want to know what's on top of my fridge. That very, very clear alcohol. And then homeschool day where you go tour the prison, his little young son talking about stills and moonshine and the prison tour, and his dad's like, hush son, you don't talk about that.
That's a history project, son.
Yeah.
This is why we're anonymous on the internet.
Yeah, so anyway, in our state, I mean, there's ways that I could label it for pet consumption and actually legally sell it, but I don't sell it. I share with friends, and you only get into a lot of real trouble if you start doing stuff off property, like taking it to a central point and meeting people.
I guess that's where they do the sting operations at.
Yeah, but then every time, and I mean 3 times in the past 2 weeks, my name's been tagged in Facebook posts on the community page and be like, I'm looking for a raw milk source, and most of the time I ignore it, but it'd be like 5 different people that know me, Yeah. My name. I'm like, why are y'all highlighting my name on there? So yeah, and since my commercial farm operation doesn't say Sam and Ella, my full name is across there, so they see my full name, and then my full name's on the sign of the commercial operation. Yeah, so
now we're talking on the internet.
Mama Vanilla.
Oh no, most people know our animals' names.
But we have talking about animals' names. There's Zinnia the cow. Yeah, and then my good friend. She attends home births and stuff, and
yeah, we should talk about birth next.
Yeah, so she's like snapping me a picture and sending on Facebook. Hey, I got to say hi to Zinnia today, and I'm like, what the heck? Zinnia. Let's see, we didn't even name Zinnia. Zinnia was Moo's daughter that ended up hanging around and not getting sold, and she was a year old. We had bottle fed her because that's when we learned our lesson with Moo. We don't let Moo raise her babies. Moo is a beast. Not only the hiding her babies, losing her babies, then for the next, first month of their life when you're trying to milk Moo, because, I mean, you can't just leave. It's like, oh, why are you stealing milk from the baby? Well, if we didn't, she'd get mastitis and be engorged. The baby can't take it all. She has so much milk. But lovely Moo and her maternal instincts, when she's got a baby on her and we bring her into the milking stall, even though her baby is just chugged down all it can take and she's bursting at the seams, she's a beast, she's a bear, she doesn't cooperate, and cows can hold up their milk. I mean, they can hold it to where they don't let down, and that milk machine can be on her, or you can be doing the teats with your hands and nothing is coming out, and it's all up there tight in that bag that's bursting and gonna get mastitis.
We had to cut the 1/4 off the one cow.
We're not talking about that. That's gross. So here Moo does not get to raise her babies. We've learned what a beast she is. So this calf was bottle fed. I mean, well, we milked the mom. As long as she's not actually nursing her babies can be in a pen next to her, in a stall, wherever. And after a couple of days of that, she settles down. And so we can completely milk her out. And so young sons will milk, and they have the bottle right there, and they immediately pour into a bottle, feed it to the baby, pour in another bottle. I mean, we're generous. We let the babies drink whatever they want. We don't restrict them. So baby's getting all the milk at once. So that baby raised there for a year. After it was bottle fed for 6 months, so that's another thing. Dairy cows will be bottle fed for about 6 weeks. And starting, at the very beginning at 2 weeks old, they're pushed a grain called creep feed that's high protein. And they look at milk as only a bridge to get them to, hold them over long enough to where they're eating enough, high protein creep feed to not need the milk, because the milk's a commodity, and it develops their rumen differently. So we only raise the girls on real mama's milk for 6 months, and grass and hay that they nibble, and they develop a rumen that is an efficient grass converter, and so you don't have to dump tons of grain to them. You can grass feed them.
Yeah, so good grass fed milk.
Because then these commercial cows, but they have to have the genetics for it too. These commercial cows, when they have a baby and they're in milk, they're genetically bred to pump out that milk, 8-10 gallons a day, and you have to feed them, otherwise you're going to have a sick and dead cow. You know. But anyway, so
I remember you went to Virginia to get out of state, to get a cow, and brought it back
in the minivan.
In the minivan.
Yeah,
and it was so tiny and cute, and we put a dog collar on it, and we're like, we should take it for a walk in the park.
Did we didn't even take you with us. We took
that was when we had our hypothetical party.
I know. We left all the teens at home, and we took young sister, it was the same year we got moved.
Young ones.
We did have the young sons.
You took the 3 younger kids.
So they would have been about 3, 8, and 11. We took those ones with us,
and then the rest of us,
15 through 18-year-olds, we
stayed
left
at the house,
home.
and so it was like a night.
Well,
and
they have to run the commercial part of the farm, which, like I said, they're all automated. The feed lines,
but also we were those ages when you sent us on our own trip.
They didn't pay attention to the auger overtimes on those lovely alarms of the automated feed lines, and there was a thing that had messed up that kept running, and there was a mountain, literally a mountain of feed inside.
I don't do chicken houses.
Yeah. So, anyway. But, is there a gallon restriction on raw milk production, or is this? You're just not allowed to sell raw milk. In some states in the United States, I don't know, some of these people are probably not from the U.S., but it's illegal everywhere in the U.S. It's illegal to different degrees in different states. Some states are, vehemently and aggressively.
So good, though. I'm drinking some right now.
Yeah, guzzle. Yeah, people, my guys will have a quart jar of icy cold raw milk to take to whatever jobs or work they're at. And when they're hot and sweaty something, they'll grab and start chugging milk. And everybody that's used to store milk just gets disgusted.
What was
They're just like,
Little sis had the best description. She said it tastes like wet tissue paper.
Oh, I always say it's just like white water. But yeah, we have many, many people that will taste our milk and let their kids taste it. And then they all look at us and go, oh, gee, great, thanks. Now you've ruined milk for me because, now they've tasted the good stuff. It's ruined.
And the store milk goes bad so quickly.
Yes, you ruined store milk. Yeah,
store milk is not real milk.
Yeah, it's a.
I was going to say that we had our hypothetical party because you left us free 3 big ones, and we were all like, "Oh, the parents are gone. We can have a party, but we don't feel like actually having a party." So we watched the Goonies and we watched a bunch of the Lizzie Bennett Diaries on YouTube and had our hypothetical party. It was great.
Yeah, we went and got. Where were we at before talking?
Raw milk lasts weeks.
Yeah,
I mean it'll start getting. So what raw milk will do? It'll age. It'll get kind of an older taste, or the cream won't
It never gets putrid. Put it this way: kids' sippy cups. You go out to Day Out with Thomas, or you go to the zoo, or you go Day Out with Thomas is all over the country, so that's not. She's looking at me like, oh, don't.
No. I was just thinking how many of them actually have experience with kids' sippy cups.
So anyway, you put milk in a sippy cup for a kid, and if you leave it in the living room and it falls under the sofa, or if it's in the car it's putrid. I mean, and then everybody has experience with store milk that's been set out. It's gross and putrid and separated and make you sick and make you want to vomit. But raw milk doesn't do that.
No.
Raw milk just kind of thickens and clabbers and turns into a different product.
Yep.
So,
I wish I had tried more of your experiments in the early days, because now I want to do all those experiments with milk.
If your milk in the refrigerator has been sitting there 3 weeks, and you open up, the cream on top just gets thicker and thicker, and it just gets a more farmy essence to it, well, then you just bake with it or make smoothies or something. Oh, yeah, it's not going to hurt you.
Make yogurt.
Do Canadians really have milk bags? Like Canadian people have milk bags? What are you talking about?
I guess in the stores? I don't know. I'm not Canadian.
Freezing ramen. Let's see. Taste our milk. How long do it last? What's this? I remember going down to the island and learning to milk a cow. So yeah, how can you freeze raw milk? Lots of people have one family milk cow, and they're like, okay, you get your cow bred about 3 months after it had a baby, so it'll have a baby about the same time next year. But about 2 months before the baby's going to be born, you need to stop milking the cow to give it a break and let it build up colostrum. So that's the dry period. And everybody's like, what are we going to do for milk during the dry period? And people do, experiments with freezing. Now, when you freeze it, the cream part of it, when it thaws out, is chunky. So some people would say, just make sure to skim all the cream off and just freeze skimmed milk, which skimmed raw milk tastes like vitamin D milk from the store. It does not taste like skim milk. But anyway, other people were saying that
if you wanted to freeze it, you could skim the butter.
Well, you can also freeze it, they say, and then as it's defrosting, keep mixing it a whole lot. I don't know.
I don't know. If you're freezing milk, I'd probably take the cream off, make butter with it, and then freeze the milk. I've heard of, I guess canning milk is like one of those rebel things where it's like not approved by the FDA, so it's like a rebel thing. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about.
So what's this about milk bags? Normal milk. Are you talking about shelf stable? It's something that's not refrigerated that you cut the corner of the bag. Let's see. What's this? That doesn't seem.
It's not normal. Is it refrigerated or just in a bag?
Raw milk cheese. Oh, I make lovely mozzarella, which I really need to make mozzarella tomorrow.
Yeah, I like. We have a really simple one where you just heat it up and put in a little bit of like.
Well, that's simple farm cheese. Yeah. You can take, and you can do this with store milk too. I don't know that it works again. But if you take the milk.
I think I did it with the milk from the market that's like the less pasteurized one.
Yeah.
Where you just take like some acidity, like some vinegar or some lemon juice.
So all my milk is in glass jars. We don't put it in cartons or bags or whatever. But yeah, if you take your milk and heat it up, just as it hits 185 degrees, and for every gallon put about a quarter cup of either vinegar or lemon juice, the whole thing will just curdle up, and you'll have hunks. Curds. You'll have hunks of curds swimming in some light yellow whey, and then you just scoop the curds out, and you can season them with salt and pepper. I just like salad dressing to season it, because then as it cools, then they kind of turn into a hunk. Then my hubby found a recipe for it's a sliceable and meltable cheddar cheese. Oh, no press, no age. Because if you're actually making cheddar cheese, you have to put it in a cheese press and you have to age it. But he has a recipe, and you use a certain culture powder that you can buy from cheese making places. But and you can probably Google on the interstate.
I like Kate. I really, when I get the chance, I really want to do Kate's little cheese courses.
So anyway, it's no press, no age cheddar cheese. And it's simple to make, and you just have to, hang it like in a cloth and let it drip and strain, and then put it in the fridge. And, it's sliceable, it'll melt. But the mozzarella cheese is super simple to make. You don't have to age that, you just put citric acid in it while it's cool. You just barely heat it up and put rennet in it, let it sit, and it makes like these smooth chunks to cut up. And, yeah, there's some dirty work on the farm. The commercial part of it is not it's the type that people don't like to do. But then it's the type that you drive around the country and you smell it and go, ooh, and people in the know goes, smells like money to me.
Yeah. But then again, it's like, most of the time it's just like a certain couple hours of work, and then you're off. Well, see, because
Papa Vanilla doesn't have to work outside the farm anymore. And, and we're doing well enough to just kind of start buying up the street.
So your plan worked where you're like, look, honey, here, look, sign the papers. We're getting a farm. Put you to work. But hey, you were planning, like, there's some ups and downs, but like, you're good at like making things work for you.
Yeah. So anyway, the mozzarella is easy to do. You just kind of slowly warm it up, and the little hunks kind of slowly turn into curds, and you pull them all out. And you start dipping them in a little bit of hot whey and squeezing and stretching them, and then you got mozzarella.
It's really good. I made pizza. I love my pizza I made. I've made it like twice, where I made some fresh mozzarella, and I had some tomato sauce I'd canned, and then I'd made my sourdough pizza crust. And so I made like a completely homemade pizza. Though the tomatoes, I guess technically the tomatoes I got from the local market, and I didn't grow myself, but otherwise.
I said the only thing I don't like about farm life is the driving you have to do to get to town. We're close to everything.
Yeah.
We don't have to. It's not out in the Midwest, But no, we're
close.
I mean, it's
to
10 or 15
big cities.
It's 10 or 15 minutes to get to town, to any of our,
the
library. But it's not that small anymore.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
True.
But it's still, I don't like a city. But yeah, we've got, I hear a dough baby. no kid. But yeah, we've got, all the grocery stores. And I mean, our town doesn't have Target, but where we're at in kind of a triangle, and we're on a main interstate, in 30 minutes I could be to one of three bigger areas that has every restaurant. And I mean, not so close to the metropolitan city where you're driving down the road and you see every single store in Mattress Center or whatever, but we got three town cities that we could get to within 30 minutes. And then we are 45 minutes to an hour, both north and south of us, to two very large, well-known cities. So, do you guys get tornadoes from time to time? We do, but right where we're at, tornadoes are kind of a thing. But there's kind of a ridge to the west of us, and the way tornadoes track, they hit and they go just above us or just below us. Back, I don't know, a handful of years ago on Christmas Day, there was one, only when the storms come directly up from the south on us do they get kind of spooky. And we had one very recently, I don't know, about 5 weeks ago. And yeah, we were watching the weather pattern and the warnings, and, hubby got pretty spooked by the direction of the wind and how we were feeling outside. And it was just like those Christmas ones. And the Christmas ones came and obliterated the towns. And actually, the lady that was behind you, she keeps coming up in these stories. The lady that was behind you at the accident, their house, down there just below us. I mean, those tornadoes, because it tore up their rabbit trees. And I actually was trying to get to their house.
So many years ago, I was probably
it was tracking right at our farm and then stopped.
Yeah.
Right when it got into the street and the subdivisions.
That's right. Yeah, because that's one. I was probably like Sis's age.
15-minute cities are a trap. I mean, it's our town. It's just like in 15 minutes where we go to church and the grocery store and, friends' houses or Girl Scout or Boy Scout meetings and the library. And I don't know what else is in our town. Whatever little fast food restaurant you want to go to. Aldi's.